What's going on, Drinking Buddies? Brand new podcast coming right at you, but you know what we got to do first. We got to talk about the things that generate the little bit of revenue for the show. First and foremost, are you aware? Are you been living under a rock? How do you not know? I'm sure you know. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/MattSlayer. The Patreon is home to exclusive content, not just in Now We Drink stuff. My other random musings, I just posted a photo set there. There's also exclusive clips, a community at patreon.com/MattSlayer. You can support this podcast for as little as $3 a month. That's less than 10 cents a day. Get off your wallets. We are also brought to you by my Twitch stream. That's right, still Twitch streaming. Every Thursday we have the community game night. If you come join the Discord, you can come play with me and the rest of the community at twitch.tv/MattFandSlayer. And if you have Amazon Prime, subscribing to the Twitch stream literally costs you nothing. Throw me that Prime sub. Appreciate the hell out of you for it. And last but not least, if you are listening to this on audio only, there is a YouTube channel at youtube.com/ANWD. Come subscribe to the YouTube channel. The video content is slowly being transitioned over there. Well, the censored video content, the YouTube-friendly video content. The uncensored stuff stays on the Patreon. So check that out today at youtube.com/NowWeDrink. Let's get on with it, shall we? My guest this week, returning for a third or fourth or fifth time, maybe, counting other random appearances, is the pro-villain himself, Tim Woodman. Of course, Tim and I talk about his villainous exploits, but we also get into what's going on with APAC, which is the Adult Performers Advocacy Council, and they're really doing amazing things to try to change what day-to-day is like for performers. This is a really fun conversation. Per usual, it goes all over the place. So sit back, relax, pop a cold one, and enjoy, Drinking Buddies. As you were about to say, we don't need to be sober.
We do not need to be sober for this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good seeing you, brother.
Good to see you, man. It's been a long time.
I know. It's been a couple years since in person. Fucking end of the world.
Fucking end of the world, man. Jesus Christ, what happened? I was looking back on the early panicked reporters saying this could last up to 8 weeks. I'm like, yeah, you didn't mean in a row, though.
No.
8 weeks on loop.
It's Groundhog Day. Literally, we were recording this on Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
So
Here we are on Groundhog Day, waking up like Bill Murray going, oh, here we go again with that song.
And we don't even get to try to fuck Andy McDowell.
I would not have passed up that opportunity.
On the one hand, I agree. I would not try to pass up that opportunity. On the other hand, it's like, technically, he's an immortal being trying to fuck a mortal.
It was a fucked up movie.
Oh, yeah. If you look at it, like, objectively, it's really fucked up.
No, I was just perving on the actress.
And her very hot daughter.
Who's her daughter?
Have you seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, or have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
A while ago, I guess.
Well, she plays Kitty Cat, the girl that Brad Pitt picks up.
Okay.
The skinny little brunette.
Okay, sure.
As Andy McDowell's daughter.
Yay for that. Good for you, kid.
Yeah, and she's in her 20s, so it's not like Brad Pitt was being a creep. Well, he was being a creep kind of in the movie, but
I'm not one to judge people being creeps in real life or in movies. That's kind of my job.
Also, fictional characters.
Yes, important.
It's a-okay. Well,
I am a fictional character.
I think we both are.
We're hypothetical beings, you and I.
This is not actually happening. You're hallucinating this podcast, everyone.
You can't prove we're not. I saw The Good Place. This could all be some demon's incarnation. We don't know.
There's still bourbon, so...
If it's an illusion, it's a good one.
Right? Like, if you're going to damn me to hell and there's still alcohol, okay.
And Kristen Bell's there? That'll be fine. I have celebrity crushes. I have sex with A-list porn stars, but I still have celebrity crushes.
Who's on the celebrity crush list?
Kristen Bell, for sure. There's just something about her, her deliberately annoying persona that just makes you want to slap her and thinks she'd probably be into it if you did. It's just, that works for me. I like Kristen Bell.
Who else?
I mean, how far back are we going? Like
all the way back.
Rona Mitra, Angelina Jolie, from her prime to today. Jennifer Connelly from Labyrinth forward, because I was that age then too. Those are the ones that leap to mind. I'm sure there's others. But.
Well, and I'm right there with you with Jennifer Connelly, especially in the fucking Rocketeer. Like, what she, in the fucking, like...
Beautiful Mind?
I never actually saw Beautiful Mind.
She wasn't sexed out in that, but she was the exact right... I mean, it's not fair because I think we're the same age. She might be 5 years older than me, but like every time I reach a different maturity level, she's right there looking at me.
Still looking gorgeous.
It's not right.
Well, I'm just saying.
It's so right.
In the Rocketeer, she was in like the prime Hollywood 30s get up. Like, it's like, oh, them dames were hot looks back in the day.
Nothing wrong with that, for sure.
Who else you got?
Oh, who do I crush on? I don't know. I don't watch much modern TV because I turned off, like, I have cable, but I don't have most of the premiere channels, and I don't watch just regular TV as it happens. I wait till a show has ended and somebody said it ended well, so my pop culture is usually 3 to 5 years behind, which thus Kristen Bell, because Good Place was the close. I'm always like at least 1 year behind when something hits Netflix.
All right.
I don't know. What about you?
Let's see. Going back, definitely Jessica Alba back in the day.
Sure.
I was first turned on to her from Idle Hands. Like, who's that? Whoa, she's hot. And also my age.
There's something to that.
So I really thought Angelina Jolie was gorgeous, like Hackers, her first couple of movies. And then when I saw Tomb Raider and Jon Voight was there with her, and it's like, oh, you could definitely tell the familial like characteristics. It's like something about her like just became less attractive when I'm like, I just see a good chunk of Jon Voight's face there.
No, and this is, I don't want to disclose too much, but almost everybody that I truly crush on looks like my sweetie in some way or another. That's how desperately in love with my sweetie I am. And Angelina Jolie has that fat bottom lip and that pronounced jawline, which is also why Rona Mitra works for me so hard, because they both look, they don't look like, but there's enough similarity that they remind me of my sweetie, who is still my ultimate crush. To this day, she's almost 52, and I just stare at her every morning like, holy fucking God, I get to sleep with you? I don't get it.
A villain in love.
I swear, I'm not supposed to be romantic. I'm supposed to be all like evil and pervy and shit, but and we are. I mean, I do horrible things to her, and she loves it, but we're also desperately in love, so that's nice too.
It's okay. Many villains in fiction are, have that spot. For their number two.
You got to have that. And she grounds me. I wouldn't survive this villain life if I didn't have a real life to come home to.
You're like, I would have already built the castle fortress.
No, I would have died. I would have like overdosed or like driven into a tree or something if it weren't for her stabilizing influence.
Oh, you wouldn't have died to like some battle with the hero?
Well, on film, maybe. My whole career, I've been playing a bad guy since 1996, and I've died exactly once on camera. I don't, like, nobody wants, I would have figured I'd die a lot at the end of the movie when the damsel gets away or whatever, but I always win. Evil always triumphs in my world.
Well, you're also booking your own stuff.
No, and that's true. The one time I died, somebody hired me. Well, it was a collaboration, but it was not, I'm in. And it was Aiden Starr who killed me. With poisoned lipstick, she literally kissed me to death. I'm like, well, that's among my top. Like, if you had to pick how to die, kissed by Aiden Starr, probably pretty high on the list.
Yeah, it's a good way to go.
Yeah,
that is definitely a good way to go.
Yeah, I just saw her the other day. She's still just this
little
4-foot fireball.
I haven't seen Aiden in a while. I'm glad to hear she's doing all right.
I'm on the short list of people that during quarantine she was willing to trust with her location, and she's held camera for me and let me use her studio a couple times. That's cool, and it's nice to see her. We drink together after. I'll bring tequila to the shoot after, not during, but after the shoot, we'll have one together. That's nice.
Yeah, once cut's called, it's A-okay to drink.
Absolutely. I did my job. She did her job. Everybody won. So yeah, I saw her. Okay, so I don't know how to tell this story so the narrative is the most entertaining. But I turned 50 a week ago, last Wednesday. This is Wednesday?
Yes.
I turned 50 last Wednesday, 26. And a real world friend of mine was joking me like, you got to start taking them testosterone supplements now, man. And I didn't know how to, I wasn't going to tell him, but I didn't know how to politely say, I've had sex with 4 women this week, 2 of which are A-list porn stars. I don't think I have a testosterone problem at this time. I'm sorry, pal. I just don't think I do.
See, I'm almost afraid of like taking a testosterone supplement and be like, would that put me back to horny teenage levels of like...
I just punched some drywall or something. I don't think I'd handle extra testosterone with.
Right, exactly. I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I was a monster as a teenager.
I'd get in a fight in the supermarket, like in the Ralph's checkout line. I just punch somebody. I don't need more testosterone. I'm just fine, thanks.
Yeah, that is how I get shot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm old and wise now, and people having road rage and shit, like, is funny to me now.
Yeah, you just, nice, good job, cutting me off, asshole, and then just let them drive off.
Right. In my 20s,
no, and you chase them like 4 freeways out of your way.
Yeah, let's go, motherfucker. Let's go.
What for? Like I now, again, no reason for a midlife crisis. I drive my dream car, which kids today are like, you drive that thing? I'm like, yeah, it's 25 years old, but it's a 97 Trans Am WS6, like the best car Pontiac made that year. And it's always been my dream car. So I have no use for midlife crisis, but I also don't race it. Like I've had it for 3 years. I don't think I've hit 100 miles an hour. Maybe once, but I don't think so. Like on the way out.
Don't admit to crimes on the internet.
Right. It's just, I don't need, like somebody will like look at me and start revving their engine. I'm like, dude, I could eat you and not like chew. So I don't have to. Like you're like you said, you're older and wiser.
Because I had a sports car in my mid-20s and I had to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Can't pay the tickets.
I got 4 tickets in 2006 alone. Like I had an 04 Mazda RX-8.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that thing was
That's a car.
Fucking fast.
That's a car.
The fastest I got it up to was like 135 on a highway in Chicago. Because I was driving to work one morning.
Young and angry and stupid. Yeah,
well, but an RX-7 rolled up next to me.
Oh.
It's like, oh, it's on.
Uh-huh.
You got last year's model. He smoked me like I was standing still. And I'm like, I'm doing 135, and this guy's still pulling away from me. And we're on, like, an expressway with traffic. No, we're on.
Oh, fuck.
We're on I-94 in Chicago, and there is traffic.
Yeah.
Like, that was really dumb.
My stupid moment was, it wasn't even a sport. I was in a Toyota truck. Like when the Toyota pickups were relatively, I don't know, this is 1990 or 93, somewhere around there. And I got kicked out of boarding school. Surprise, I went to boarding school. And like the night before that, night before I had to go home, I went to a Scorpions concert in St. Louis. And on the way home, the college is like an hour away. And I was just mad. And I had like 3 passengers in my car. And I was just mad. And you don't think right when I was 18 to 21, somewhere in there. And this dude pulled up next to me and we're on a bridge, like nowhere to turn off, nowhere to go. And I'm just mad. And I did like 130 on a bridge in a Toyota pickup. Like I could have killed all of us. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's stupid. And we always say age and treachery will always defeat youth and skill. And now I'm into the age and treachery bracket. So let's stop doing that shit. Right. Cheers to surviving.
Right? Somehow, some way. I'm pretty sure I should have been dead a couple times over at this point.
Oh, me too. I'm really glad I didn't know. This is a fun ride. 50 is okay so far.
I worry about it. I got some time before I'm there, but like, man, I wake up in pain some days. And like, I can't imagine 10 years from now, my body's going to be in better shape.
Right. Well, yeah, there's some thank God for Tylenol moments for sure, but getting through it so far.
I'm also an idiot who's still in his brain thinks he's in his 20s sometimes. Like, I probably need a new mattress.
It's a grown-up thing to do. It's like, okay, I'll get a new bed.
Because in your 20s, you're like, whatever, I can sleep anywhere. I'm fine.
On a futon with rocks in it. Yeah.
Oh, I slept on that futon.
Oh yeah. In a sofa in like the student lounge or wherever.
My bed was that futon that turned into a couch.
Yep.
And for quite some time, I had broken it during sex and never fixed it, so it just sagged in the middle. I'm like, whatever. And eventually, I just moved the futon to the floor and just got rid of the frame altogether.
Sure. That's what you do that time in your life, for sure. And then 20 years later, you're like, I wish I hadn't done that. It still hurts.
When I got rid of that futon, I bought this bed.
Yeah. And you've had it since.
And I justified not replacing it for a while. Like, oh, I was on the road full time. Like, I didn't really sleep on it for like 5 years. Mm-hmm. At this point, it's like, oh, I've had it for like 15 though. That means it's still got 10 years of use out of it.
That guy with the mattress commercial says over 8 replace or whatever the fuck.
Well, you can't trust them. He's trying to sell me mattresses.
That's a good point. Don't listen to that guy. He's just in it for the selling the mattresses.
He doesn't have my best interest at heart. He is a capitalist scumbag trying to sell me mattresses.
I love your podcast. We talk about the dumbest shit. I love your podcast, man. They're like, how did we get here?
We tangented
a lot.
Yes, but we tangented from doing an adult thing of buying a new mattress to not trusting the mattress man.
Right. I don't know how we got there, though, but that doesn't matter. We're having fun.
Exactly.
We're drinking and babbling. That's the show.
Last I checked.
Yeah. I still have your old white coaster that says the Now We Drink coaster. I still have that on my desk. It's like mostly deteriorated now because
I have an extra one for you in a drawer.
I'll take a new one. I'll proudly put it by my editing bay.
I should make new coasters at some point.
Meh. The old ones work.
They do.
They look cool. I like them.
But we have neon branding for the last like 3 years. Should put that shit on a coaster.
Sure, why not? I'll use it.
Or have one with my face on it. Don't you just want to put your drink on my face?
Clock right. That's Matt's face. Boom.
I'll just make it look like this.
Cheers, Matt. Bam. Big wide open mouth.
I'll just big wide open mouth right at the camera.
That's great.
Put drink here. You pour one out for me eventually.
Eventually, just right on there. Okay, so I had all these stories I was going to tell you before.
And I derailed them all.
And then I don't remember what they were.
I know. While I was slurping down pasta, you're like, I have to tell you this one on mic.
Yeah, but I was hypnotized by the pasta because I don't barely ever eat carbs anymore. And just watching you eat a bowl of fucking linguine or fettuccine or whatever that was with pasta, butter and cheese, I was like, oh God, I want that so bad.
I mean, we probably shouldn't have admitted on camera on mic that I did that. I might get kicked out of LA over that.
Or made mayor. You could get elected for that shit.
Oh, could you imagine me mayor of LA?
Sure, why not? I've seen some of the mayors we've had in this town. I've lived here my whole life. There's a low standard.
I'm going to run for mayor. Well, I guess I should probably run for city council person first.
The new thing is just go from private enterprise straight to president without ever holding an office before that. Have you not heard?
Yeah, but that involves like having sex with Stormy Daniels first.
And being born a millionaire. And
yeah. No, I thought it was just the sex with Stormy that got you to the highest office.
I can't speak to that. I've not actually worked with her.
Well, we'll find someone who worked with them with Stormy and put them up for office.
We got some mutuals. If she ever wants to get tied up, I'll be there. I could do it.
And then you could run for president.
Yeah. That would be a hell of a platform.
The villain you know.
I fucked her too, but she liked it when I did
it. Come on, Tim Woodman, the villain you know.
The villain you know. Better the villain you know. Yeah, I could see it. You know what you're getting. For sure.
Dude, you could have the Scorpions play your inauguration.
Yeah. What's left of Ozzy Osbourne? I would want Ozzy. I mean, I know he's
got to run 2024.
English, Scorpions are German, so I'd want Ozzy for sure. The devil himself.
But Ozzy's British.
Yeah, but the Scorpions are German. Like it should be Motley Crue by that logic. But Motley Crue, like in a time machine, like 1996 Motley Crue.
You could get Poison.
What's left of them?
Yeah.
I'll still argue C.C. DeVille was one of the best guitarists that 80s pop metal ever saw.
He was. There's a reason he was like 20 years older than everyone else in the band.
Yeah. He was that good.
It's like young dude, and C.C. DeVille.
Yeah.
Again, Motley kind of did that with Mick Mars too. Like,
he was only like 5 years old in
but he looked like he was 20 years old.
He put on a lot of miles for sure. Another great guitarist though. Now we drink.
Yeah, you could.
That was right into the microphone too.
It's okay.
It's a little gift for your next guest.
That wouldn't be
like Tim Woodman.
Wouldn't be the worst fluids ever spilled on that mic.
I'll try not to lick it.
Oh, everyone who's ever licked has been tested.
Fair enough.
Plus, I doubt the bacteria would survive this long, maybe.
I'm no sciencer.
No, I don't think either one of us are. If we were scientists, we wouldn't be doing this.
I'm pretty. I don't have to be smart. That was the deal.
I didn't look out like that.
That's just what I tell myself. Yeah.
I got neither.
So, yeah, I had an amazing thing happen. I should tell you about this. It's a year old now, but during the first half of the pandemic, when they were actually trying to help, the government was actually trying to help. I got one of those the loans that you don't have to pay back, the PPP loan. Yeah. And I wasn't gonna, but at the time, Lance, who is now Lucy Hart, was like encouraging performers go through Blue Acorn or Shellfish or whatever the fuck it was. And I'm like, fuck it. Sure. And I didn't cheat. Here's my taxes from 2019. Here's my taxes from 2020. And they were like, you lost 13 grand. Here, do you want it? I was like, well, yes. And I was like, they're not going to give it to me. And they gave it to me. I'm like, I got 13 grand. What am I going to do with that? And so I paid some bills. I finished a kitchen and flooring project. And I took the change, which was enough to go to Vegas, hire 3 models in a row over the course of 3 days and shoot what I fucking want to shoot, which is unusual for me. Like my whole career is mostly just some custom video customer asked me to do a thing. And I love my customers and I love shooting for them. But the novelty of like, hey, I'm writing this. I can do whatever the hell I want and pick who I want. Like that's the biggest thing. It's like they always pick who they want, which is great. And they have good taste. But so I got to work with people that have been on my long time list. Actually 4, because I shot one in town too.
Who'd you work with? What'd you do?
Okay, so huge shout outs to, from the Bay Area, Dresden. I don't know if you know who she is. An adorable creature who I'd been flirting with like once a year at AVN for like 3 or 4 years. And she had run the thing from webcam, from stripper to webcam to girl only to finally doing boy girl right around when I got the money. I'm like,
Perfect
I want
timing.
a shot of this. So I shot with Dresden. She was amazing. She was just absolute delight. And then I went to Vegas and I got, check this out, I got Olive Glass and Diana Grace and Alana Cruz. And they were each equally overwhelmingly fantastic to work with. And I've just been sitting like releasing the footage once a week and like just loving, look at what I did. It was so cool. So thank you, government, for giving me porn money.
Right?
I used it. I used it as payroll.
Yeah, it's business expenses.
Yeah.
These are all
I
business
paid
expenses.
people. And that's
You're
cool.
a job creator, sir.
I sure am. I was putting it back into the economy. Paid my favorite camera guy who had moved to Vegas a little before the pandemic. I'm like, shit, there goes my favorite camera guy. But then like all 3 of those models were in Vegas. I'm like, you know what? I could do 4 shoots here in town, or I could do 3 shoots in Vegas. I'm going to go to Vegas. And I just got a hotel off the strip and such a good time. Such a good time. So huge shout outs to each of them for being willing to work with my ass, which even after all these years still surprises me because I shoot the weird stuff. And I never know who's going to be like enthusiastically into, yes, bring on the knives and rope and chloroform and fake blood. And who's going to be like, no, don't do that.
Well, I know Olive, and Olive's an artist.
She's amazing.
Olive is all about like doing weird shit.
She's fucking amazing. I met her. We were both hired by a guy up in Portland to shoot the weird shit together. And we just had chemistry. I'm like, if I ever get my own money, I'm hiring you.
Was that the company in Portland that does like the dead girl or the dead?
Among other things, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's them. I don't know how they're doing or what they're doing now, but I was grateful. They hired me 2 or 3 times, flew me up to Portland. I don't get hired very much, so that was like a treat for me, usually.
And especially out of town, like you're going to fly me somewhere?
And they did, and they flew me. They paid for my airfare and everything. I was like, shit, you must think highly of my ass. I don't know why. It was a good time for sure.
And Portland's a fun town, so.
I love Portland. It's amazing up there. I'll go back there anytime I can. It's a beautiful town. And then I have 2 recent custom video guys. I'm just going to brag all through your show. I hope
I'm here for it.
I hope people are entertained. This guy wrote me, and I've shot for him 4 or so times. He's a big Wonder Woman enthusiast, I guess. We do not share the same tax bracket. Like he is making more money than me. And he wanted Wonder Woman bondage and bondage sex content. And you can get a lot of Wonder Woman bondage content from a lot of other producers. But apparently I'm one of the few people that's still willing and able to do good bondage plus sex performance. I didn't realize that there weren't that many of us left.
Have you been like full on Highlandering them, just fucking taking their heads?
Right.
Like there could be only one. Woodman's just walking around like the Kurgan, just fucking taking the heads.
That would be an amazing movie. I would shoot that. I would shoot fetish Highlander and just run around killing other riggers, getting into rope battles or something. I don't know what.
Just ropes and swords.
Anyway, so this guy, I've shot with him a couple of times. And then most recently, I just released something I shot maybe 2 months ago with him and Bella Rowland. Do you know her? She's a Spiegler girl.
I do not. I've heard the name. I don't know her.
She's fucking fan. She's like 6 feet tall. She looks like an Amazon goddess. And this guy got her a custom fit costume, and he got her he spent like $300 getting hand stitched Italian, made in Italy leather boots, like perfect, Linda Carter TV show, old school Wonder Woman boots. He went full out, and then he hired my dumbass. I don't know what the deal with that is, but he got me a nice pleather German officer trench coat so I could be the evil Colonel something or other. And we shot this thing and it went great. She was a treat. She was hilarious and delightful, and we had a wonderful time shooting together. And then I just released it, and I guess the customer, I told him I'm putting bits of it out for the public, And he hit up whatever, I don't want this to sound derogatory because it's not, but whatever nerdy superheroine forum that those guys talk on, I'm not there. I don't do forums anymore. He hit it, and I had sales like I've never seen before. I've literally, this last week has been my best clip sale week I've ever had.
You shouldn't say that too loud. He may want a discount on the next one. Like,
no, he's like, I'm going to do you another one, and I'm so glad it worked for you. Like, and in fairness, even with my best clip sales ever, I essentially broke even. Like I don't lose money. I just don't make, like my custom video paradigm is you pick the girl, you pick the costume, you pick the content, and you become executive producer, which means here's her rate, here's how much the costumes cost, here's how much I cost, editing, location, cameraman, you pay everything. And then I produce and direct it for you. But I get my performer fee, but I don't actually charge them a producer or a director fee. And production, as you know, is weeks ahead of time of hand-holding and coordinating and juggling cats. And post-production is a nightmare of editing and hand-holding and juggling cats. And that's all for free because I keep the rights to footage so I can re-release it on Clips for Sale or Niche Clips or wherever. So, like, that's $1,500 to $2,000 I don't charge. And I did not make $1,500 to $2,000 over the last 5 days. I could tell you fucking that for sure. But it was quite satisfying. Like I broke the top 70 of all clips, not just my category, but all clips for sale, which is like, I don't know how many thousand studios I have. I'm in the top 70 right now. I've never done that.
That's fucking awesome.
So yay, Bella Rowland. Such a sweet girl. And I had no idea how popular that would be.
Just got to convince this guy to book more of them.
Holy shit. He's going to do a sequel. You heard it here first on February 2, 2022, as of this recording date. I'm in pre-production on the sequel, Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl, Identity to be Disclosed Later. So here's hoping that works.
I'm hoping it works out. I'm hoping you repeat the number of fucking sales or
shit, dude.
Fucking above.
You know that whole give me 20 years and I'll give you an overnight success? This is 26, but this is what it feels like. After all of this time, oh wow, I kind of hit the big time for a minute there.
It's like, oh my God, people are recognizing my fucking hard work.
That's me recognizing my hard work.
No one was urinating this time, folks.
That's the hip flask pouring some. Should we? I always feel like they're not paying me to endorse them. They don't give me free booze.
This is true, but I like to let the people know like what's quality out there, like what I think is good.
I brought, and this has rapidly become in my probably top 3 brands. I brought myself some Casamigos tonight. This happens to be a Reposado, but all 3, their silver, the Reposado, and their Añejo are each individually in my top 10 tequilas.
That was Clooney's old brand.
Yeah.
Didn't he make a lot of money when he sold that motherfucker?
Yeah, I never met him. I don't know. Could be. I hope so for him. But it's good tequila anyway.
Well, maybe he'll order a custom with all that extra money.
Yeah, George, call me up, dude. I'm reasonably priced. I don't charge production or directing fees.
Especially in your tax bracket, man. Come on. That's walking around money.
Oh my God, dude. He could very easily finance. Just pick the ex-wife of your choice. I'll tie her up for you. I don't know if he's even got an ex-wife. Not the point.
Or ex-girlfriend, you could tie up Stacy Keebler.
If they were up for that, I imagine not. I'd be there.
Maybe at one point in her career when she was a fledgling dancer / nitro girl.
No, I'd be there. I just don't know if she'd be up for that. I don't,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe 20 years ago in her career when...
Sure, when she was up for anything.
Yeah, when she was just like, I'm a background dancer on pro wrestling. Not to say that's not a noble profession. I'm just saying there's a lot of people in wrestling with OnlyFans these days. So
yeah, and a couple extra bucks is a couple extra bucks.
Exactly.
Sure. I mean, I'm all about consensual, ethical production of seemingly non-consensual acts. So if they're down for it, I'll be there.
Acting.
Oh, and so then I made enough money on the other clips that I did it again. Not 4 different performers, but I hired another performer. And she actually was a last second thing, which is, I'm just bragging because I think this is so bitchin'. I had a cancellation with somebody that I hope to still work with, but just things didn't work out quite right. And I didn't have a date set. I was just like, you're next on my list. And then something went sideways. And so now she's still next on my list. But in the meantime, I was like fishing around for somebody. And this gal who actually started following me because of APAC. I'm still on the board for the Adult Performer Advocacy Committee. And we should talk about that some too, because it's really important shit. But she said she found me through that and then found out I do the kinky weird stuff. And she's like, I've been watching kinky weird porn since I was 11. And I'm really, when I didn't know what masturbating was, that's still what I was fantasizing about. And I'm like,
on one hand, it's like, oh, well, that's nice, dear.
well, here's the thing, though. We all did. When I was 11, it was magazines, but I didn't pay for them either. Kids watch free porn on whatever medium. Like, I'm sure the first cavemen were sneaking into the grown-ups cave and looking at the paintings on the wall, going, boobies. Like, that's not new.
It's not new, but I also don't want to hear about it.
I don't care. I did it too.
Well, I did too.
I don't care.
My mother's boyfriend had stacks of Fox magazine.
We're sexual animals from the moment we're born, and we're sexual animals until the moment we die. Like, is there anybody hornier than a 90-year-old man on a breathalyzer? Breathalyzer? You know what I mean. Breathalyzer too if he's drunk. I guess.
Drunk old dudes, definitely super horny.
Anyway, my point being, this girl is this legit freaky weirdo and wanted to work with me. I'm like, well, here's what I shoot. And she's like, yes, I want that. So huge shout out. And I took a gamble, and I don't usually, because I didn't really know who she was, and I wouldn't usually put down my own money for somebody I hadn't done more research on. But she was just so enthusiastic. I'm like, I gotta. So take the time to look up Electra Rain, Rayne. Electra
Oh,
Rain.
is that the girl from Chicago?
Yes, originally from Chicago.
Yeah,
your town.
No, when you posted her, I went and followed her.
Yeah, she's fantastic, and I haven't released any of it yet, but everything we shot together was fucking gold. And oh my god, she's so much fun.
Yeah, you were like, oh, Villain Candy. I'm like, I'll check it out. Oh, Chicago Flag. Yeah, I gotta give her a follow.
Yeah, we talked about where I was asking her, are you Illuminati's? Are you what is Giordano's? What's your? And she's like, I don't have a favorite Chicago pizza. We don't even eat deep dish that much. I'm like, really? I don't know.
Yeah, that's how it really works. Like, the real Chicago pizza is the square cut tavern style. You only eat deep dish on occasion.
Yeah, that's amazing. But as an LA boy, I'm like, deep dish is a novelty.
Well, it's true. But the crackery crust thin, there's only one place like around here that does it. Mm-hmm. And there's a Geno's East in the fucking valley that does it.
There's a Geno's East out here?
In Sherman Oaks.
Damned. I'm going to have to go.
It's on Riverside, right in Sherman Oaks, right by the 101.
Shit. I'm going to have me some.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was really, really super disappointed when they first opened. They were only doing deep dish.
Well, I'm going to get the deep dish because, again, that's a novel. But I'll tell you what, we'll meet there. We'll get one of each and we'll share pizzas.
I'm down. I'm always
Let's do it. Let's fucking do it, man. Sherman Oaks is my backyard.
It's been there for a couple of years.
Let's do it. Oh my God. That'll be so much fun. Anyway, what I meant to say was Electra Lane. Look her up. You won't be sorry. And stay tuned for her on provillain.com.
I will check her out. She's Vegas based, right?
I don't know. Yes, I think so. She was in town. I had one free day, and it was the day I was going to book anyway. So yeah, I think she's Vegas now.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, hey, fellow Chicagoan, I should try to look. Oh, Vegas based.
Right. I remember you asking me, actually. I was going to bring her in here. I'm like, hey, do you want to stick around a minute? We'll go be on Matt's show. That would have been, she's a hoot. She's fucking a hoot.
I will do the DM slide and try to make it happen at some point.
I will vouch for you.
Aw.
She's got the, everybody's attractive. Let me preface by, I can find something gorgeous about everyone, and usually it's not even all that hard to do, but she's got the horse rider's muscle. Like, she's got the legs and the ass you could crack a walnut with, and just, holy fuck, dude. Oh my God. Anyway.
Tim just kind of floated off to his own world.
I need a moment.
We're going to break for a sec for Tim to freshen up.
You know who else I got to work with since we saw each other last?
Who?
And this is also an awesome story. She's been in the business, I don't know as long as me, but a long time. Dee Williams.
Oh, nice.
We've never crossed paths.
That's wild.
And she had a custom video guy hit her up. But Matt is essentially retired. I think he doesn't really do on-camera stuff at this time. So, and she's told the customers, I don't produce that stuff, but what you want to shoot, you should contact ProVillain and have him hire me. I'm like, really? I don't think we've ever met, but obviously Matt and I have crossed. Every time we were at AVNs, I'm like, dude, you're Matt Williams. Like, dude, you're Tim Woodman. It's let's have a drink, So I finally got to work with her, and I'm sitting on that content too, because there's another custom. I'll release it eventually, but it was fucking amazing. She's sweet as anything, and she's now on my YouTube channel because I brought my guitar that day. I have my two, I don't know if you know this, I have 2 YouTube content channels.
I do. I follow them.
Oh, do you really? That's cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know I had any followers.
Yep.
So yeah.
I'm waiting for the ride in the car one of these days.
We got to do it. We absolutely got to do it. I'll pick you up and take you to Geno's East,
All right.
And we'll do the interview on the way there and back. That is what we got to do.
Done.
Then I don't have to park here. I can just pull up.
I know. You don't have to deal with shitty Hollywood parking. You can just beep, beep, bitch, get in the car.
Let's go. We're getting bar cut square pizzas.
Yeah, get in that tavern style. You have to.
So Dee Williams was amazing. And the most touching thing, she shows up to the shoot. And again, this is the first time we've met in person. And we clicked instantly. She's a way bondage bunny, and we just had a wonderful time. And she said, I have a gift for you from my husband. And Matt had given her some of his original rope that he used on Hogtied. He has Twisted Monk hemp that he used on hogtied.com. He's like, I don't use this anymore. I want you to have it. I'm like, so I now have Matt Williams' Hogtied rope. I'm like, shit, dude, that's fucking, I was blown away. I mean, I know that's an overwhelmingly geeky thing to be blown away by a pile of rope, but that's my thing.
Yeah, like
that's my comic books and skateboards is rope.
Yeah, it's like someone handed you the fucking lightsaber.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was blown away by that. I have a sordid history with that entity which has become kink.com. Because I was around before them, and I remember when Hogtied first came out, and we're like, who are these new guys? And you heard a lot of bad stories in the beginning about miscommunication and model abuse and bad things happening. And then in recent years, Allison Bowden came along and turned that company upside down and shook it up something fierce. And I was like, I want to work for you guys now. And then very recently, Peter fired her back out, and now he's running it and like, yeah, I don't want to work for you after all.
I'm just bummed I never got to see the inside of the armory.
I was in there for a fetish party before he bought it. Like the one of the two, and I God, it was so long ago. It was either the Society of Janus or Mission Control, one of the actual lifestyle or BDSM clubs in the Bay Area. I was there for a convention. They rented the armory to have a party there before he ever bought it, or rented it or whatever. So I was in the armory before kink. That was fun.
That's fucking awesome.
That was a good time. That was early on in my villainous career for sure. It was a long time ago, but I'm younger than I look. I'm older than I look, but I'm also younger than I look.
You're just like, oh, this place will be magical one day.
Yeah, I had no idea. So I had a great time shooting with Dee. And then that same customer just hired me. And this was only a Sunday. I shot this thing with another Spiegler girl, Gia Durza. Do you know who that is?
I know Gia.
Yeah. She's fucking insane. She's like the coolest, craziest, you did what kind of, and this guy hired her and we did crazy demon possessed clown porn. I had to like get Jessica Ryan hook me up with her makeup artist who was actually a legit clown in her real life. This makeup artist who was a part-time clown. And she came in and did like progressive, like model makeup on her. And then like we both start to get possessed by like rubber noses or a hypnotic something or other. And she like gave us like white spots and a hint of black lips. And then we turn more clowny through the film until we're both just full on crazy pants. Like Harley Quinn and It had their own little, Pennywise had their own little orgy. And that girl, I had no idea what I was getting into.
Please tell me there was honking during the fucking.
I got 3 squeaking rubber chickens and a bicycle horn.
Please tell me.
I really wanted to do that, but.
You should have done that for the B-roll.
So right now, if you're quick about it and you go to Gia Durza's social feed, I think on her Twitter, she stuffed one of the chickens up her ass in between takes. And you can see Gia squeeze a rubber chicken out of her ass.
Before they ban her on Twitter for that one.
Right? I was like, what did you just do?
Like no lube, just...
I didn't know she was going to do that. I'm in the other room getting my clown makeup on, and I hear them laughing. I'm like, what just happened? And then she's like, look what I just did. I'm like, holy shit, you're amazing.
That's just...
She squirted all over herself and got her little foam clown nose so wet that she pulled it off and like squeezed it like a grape and like, it was like, what are you doing? You're amazing. I had no idea. No idea. So I'm hoping that guy hires me again with her because she's fucking incredible. I had no idea.
The only time I've worked with you was on crew for Mind Geek, and it was pretty vanilla Mind Geek stuff.
She's like, I get so bored. She's like, they won't let me do the weird stuff. Like, I want to like fist myself and be screaming and turning my head around like The Exorcist. And like,
the Mind Geek stuff we do was super duper vanilla. Like,
this not so much.
No, she just squeezed her own fucking fluids out of a clown nose into her mouth. At
the end of the movie, I turned into a demon clown. So I actually used rope to create a strap-on harness for myself. I got this giant, multicolored but mostly purple dick, so I'd look like a demon clown. So I actually fucked her with the strap-on at the end of this thing. Because I'm an artist.
Please tell me you rigged up like some weird fake ejaculate.
Oh, yeah. Shot stuff everywhere. Coated her.
If it didn't fire confetti while you did it, I'm upset.
I legitimately looked into a way to do that. I was like, I got a bunch of those like New Year's Eve poppers, and I couldn't quite, I wanted to do that really bad, and I couldn't quite do it.
Oh, because that would have been amazing.
Next time.
Just
next time.
Some off-colored fucking
just
ejaculate
like,
and then confetti.
And just like,
come on. Oh, that would have been amazing.
For sure next time. That was incredible. I had no idea what I was getting into. She was really something special. Like, she reminds me of Amber Rain. And I do not say that lightly, because as you may recall, she and I were very close. Amber Rain was the human rubber band. You could do anything to her. I remember working with her and coming off of my feet, whipping her as hard as I possibly could. And in between takes, they'd cut, and she's like, you could hit me harder if you want. I'm like, I am literally coming off my feet. I cannot hit you harder than this.
Like, I'm going to throw my shoulder out here.
Yeah.
I'm going to injure myself trying to hit you. And if I hit you any harder.
You'd put rope on her and she'd just start purring. She was just such a creature, that girl. Such a loss. Here's one to Amber Rain.
Here's one to Amber Rain.
Never to be repeated.
Right.
But I've worked with some amazing talent between Electra Rain and Gia Durza and Dee Williams and the three gals I mentioned and Dresden. It's been an incredible couple of months for me. 50 doesn't suck so far.
Hell yeah. And government funded partially.
Yeah. I'm like, if you're going to give me, I didn't cheat. I didn't break any rules. You said, how much did you make last year? How much did you not make this year? And they loaned me the difference. I paid myself according to their thing. Like, if you're self-owned business and you transfer it from your business to your personal, you paid yourself and you don't have to pay us back. Like, well, that's what I'm going to do then. And then I just reinvested it.
It's what I did too.
Shit, yeah, man.
I didn't get quite that much, but...
Well, the horrifying thing is I lost that much. Like, that's money I legitimately would have had, but for the pandemic.
Oh, I lost at least that much. But when the problem is...
They ran out of money.
Well, it wasn't even they ran out of money. It was the fact that, like, I shelter my taxes pretty well. And so it's like, oh, that's why I'm constantly buying new equipment and shit.
Yeah, so...
To shelter my
cash,
shelter my fucking taxes. So on paper, it was like, oh, no, we're not giving you that much. You didn't make that much last year. I'm like, but I really did, motherfuck. Like, do you know how many? I mean, I probably shouldn't talk about this on the internet, but do you know how many fucking meals I write off?
Yeah,
like, I have business dinners all the time.
I don't think we're getting audited. We don't make that kind of money.
You never know. If you take over $600 in fucking Venmo transactions, now the IRS knows about it.
Yeah, but they're not what they have to pay by the hour to come get it. Like, the auditor costs more than that.
Yeah, but we're in a fringe industry where, like, we may be a target.
I don't know. I mean, if you're a millionaire, if you're super rich, they won't come after you because they know you can hide it. If you're super poor, you don't have any money, so they won't come after you. And I'm not enough past super poor for them to care about.
On paper, I stay super poor.
Yeah. No, not on paper. Like, I'm super poor. I have my house.
I mean, I'm not well-to-do by any stretch of the imagination. Right. Don't let the apartment fool you.
Right.
Everyone. I was just talking with someone about this the other day. They're like, every time someone new comes over, they're like, you have a much nicer place than I was expecting. Every fucking time.
I lived in a place not unlike this when I lived in Hollywood. I lived in Hollywood from 96 or 7 until about 2002. Right when the Hollywood Highland Center opened up, and that one
Hollywood
utility crisis
soul.
happened, and like they were like, we're going to boost your power and electric by $300 in a month. And I was not in a rent controlled neighborhood, so like, next month your rent is going up by almost double. You should just leave and buy a house. My landlord said to me, you shouldn't stay here, dude. I don't want to fuck you over.
Okay. And you lived since you've been here your whole life. You're like, oh, I lived here at a point where people could actually buy houses.
Yeah.
So
we went to the Valley and bought a house.
Yeah, you still got to be pretty fucking wealthy to buy a house in the Valley these days.
We did it exactly right. 2002 there was a housing drop, and like, was that Clinton? When was that? Somebody was like, just give everybody loans.
Oh, that was Bush. That's post 9/11, but pre like the housing bubble burst.
Yeah, I guess. Right in there. So we
that's
hit the sweet spot when they
were giving out subprime mortgages. I got my condo in Chicago that way too. Like, oh, we'll give you an 80-20 mortgage. You've got to put like nothing down.
Yeah, we did the same thing. And countrywide thing happened to us, and we were in foreclosure for like almost 2 years and almost got kicked out every month. And then we hired a lawyer with our last $1,000. We're like, we're not going to pay the utility or cable or anything. We're just going to save up $1,000. And we got a lawyer. And it's like, all I do is kick Bank of America's ass for a living. And like by the time they saw his stationery, they're like, yeah, okay, we'll fix it. And they gave us back our original terms. So that was nice.
Hell yeah.
It was close. It was fucking close. So it's same. People look at my house. They're like, you're doing great. I'm like, no, I make it look like I'm doing great. That's my job.
Though if you sold the house, I'm sure you wouldn't be hurting.
I'm no longer upside down, but I'm not sell the house and retire yet. I'm hoping another 10, 15 years that I might be there.
Housing prices keep going up. I saw one where like in West Hollywood where it sold the Zillow. Like, last time this house sold was for $260,000. It's gone up $2 million in 20 years.
Yeah, we might end up in that. I don't know. Here's hoping. We'll see. Right now, I'm happy where I am.
Will $2 million be worth $2 million by the time you sell?
It's like you could buy a cheeseburger for $2 million.
We're wiping our ass with $2 million. Like we're getting to failing African nation money where it's like, please don't flush the currency,
right?
Because it's worth less.
Clogging the toilet. Don't ruin our sewage pipes.
Yeah,
flushing your currency.
Your $1 billion bill that you wiped your ass with.
Assuming everything doesn't just collapse. Here's hoping, because I like this life. I like making porn, and I love the idea that I sell orgasms for a living. I love the idea that there's people around the world whom I'll never meet, and I've never seen, and I'm probably not sexually attracted to, and I've helped them have orgasms. Like, I think that's noble. I'm really proud of my work.
It is. It's the Lord's work.
Orgasms are bitching. I love orgasms. Who doesn't love orgasms?
The church.
Apparently.
Unless you're making kids.
Right. You have them in secret and judge others for theirs.
Right. Or have them with small boys and then they just move you to a new city.
Right. And don't tell anybody.
Oh, they tell people. I'm sure.
We're the evil ones who admit to it.
Well, we don't admit to anything with small boys.
No, there's nothing
with small boys. There's nothing to admit to.
Jesus. I love your show, man. I love your show.
Gets dark quick.
Gets dark quick. I was bitching about this last time we were here. I'm sure the whole, you can put your rape scenes in Game of Thrones and watch it for $12 a month on HBO. And all I'm doing is being honest about the fact that what I'm making is porn, where what they made is definitely porn. But MasterCard won't let me do business. Like it's so hypocritical.
It is. It's puritanical and
it's about control. It's about big companies having the ability to do things that mom and pop people can't.
It's that. It's also
the illusion of propriety.
The illusion of propriety. The fact that like HBO doesn't have groups that, for whatever reason, think that they're saving people from fucking human trafficking.
Right. Do you remember that thing? It was on, I don't know who did it, but it was on YouTube. The whole, it's not porn, it's HBO. Do you remember that?
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Dude, Google, it's not porn, it's HBO. Funniest fucking thing you ever saw. Because all these would-be actors are telling their family, loved ones, and girlfriends or whatever, I got a job in a movie. It's like, what's your part? It's like, I play one of these guys in an orgy, and like this werewolf comes all over my chest while there's other guys peeing on my face, and these two girls are fucking me with strap-ons. Like, and you could see their family just freaking out about, oh my God, you're into porn. And at the end of it, it's like, no, it's not a porn, it's HBO. And they're like, oh, you're in a movie. And then they're all happy and shit.
I mean, there's very, very little difference between 90s Skinamax and
True Blood, Game of Thrones, like all that. It's what I shoot, but with bigger budget and less graphic penetration. But what's the difference?
The P and the V.
I guess. Is that big a difference?
Well, it is, because hell, a lot of companies do full features and do alternate cuts that go on Showtime.
Yeah.
As long as the P ain't going in the V.
That's not... I dislike being so honest. I love being so honest. I dislike the penalty I pay for being so honest.
It sucks. It sucks. And it's so weird because it's literally a product that almost everyone in America consumes.
Yeah.
More people are on the hub than are on HBOGo.com.
Yeah. Yeah. Pornhub is like the top 3 websites of the whole world.
Yeah.
I'm ironically enough, I'm not on Pornhub. Like, you can't find me there unless somebody stole it. And I look pretty frequently, and there's not a whole lot of my stolen content out there.
Well, they've gotten better about stolen content. a little too late. But
I just also think my customers are a cut above, and they don't do that to me. They buy it, they keep it.
Have you thought about Tim Woodman NFTs?
Nah, I'm not getting in on the NFT thing.
Why not?
I admit that I don't know enough, and I know people that have done their research that seem happy with, and I know photographers and artists that are very happy about the money they're making. I'm skeptical about the concept of the blockchain and about the resources wasted, and I'm just not gonna. What I'm doing is working for me. I'm never gonna be a millionaire, but I have.
But you could be.
I can look myself in my bloodshot eyes reflections in the mirror and be like, I'm okay. I can live with this.
Honestly, if you're going to get into NFTs, you got to do it quick because people are going to figure out how much of a bullshit scam it is in about 2 years.
I'm surprised Bitcoin's lasted so long.
Bitcoin has actual use.
We're out of my depth. I just make the porns and sell it on the things.
Well, I'm saying the reason Bitcoin has use is the same reason like hard currency is still in use. You can buy illegal things with Bitcoin. It makes it so it is much harder for governments to track
Fair enough.
what you're making purchases with Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin works.
I do use some shady business dealings to stay alive, but only to avoid the moral clause. Like, I don't do illegal things. I do things that are against the terms of service of people like Visa and MasterCard. Like, I still use PayPal. You just won't know it.
Well, for sure. Everyone does.
Yeah. And I feel so bad for all the girls that have their PayPals shut down. And they suffer a lot worse misogynistic ill will from their customers than I ever do. My customers mostly just love me because I make the stuff they love. And a lot of guys hate the women that they're getting off to in some way.
Well, because they know they'll never have them.
I think it's partly that. I think it's a lot that. And they don't hate me that way because I'm helping provide them with what they want. But so I'm pretty safe. And I'm just like, I tell my customers, like, you can pay me through PayPal. Just don't write anything in the memo line, because if they seize your money, that's not my problem. And I just empty my PayPal every night. Like, any money I get, I instantly transfer to my bank. So they're like, oh, you seized my $15 that I left in PayPal. That's fine. But I know girls that have lost thousands that way.
Well, yeah, it's not a bank. You shouldn't be leaving any fucking money in there.
No, just transfer that shit out of there right away.
Oh, yeah.
So, hard left turn.
No.
I promised myself that I would be a good, responsible board member and talk about APAC some while we're here.
Oh, fine. We got to talk about serious stuff.
I know. Well, I'll keep it lighthearted, I promise. But the Adult Performer Advocacy Committee, which was originally conjured into being to fight like Measure B and Prop 60 back then. And I never meant to be, I always volunteered there. Like, I'll put a butt in the seat at the very least and offer what wisdom and counsel my years will allow to anybody who wants to hear. And then somebody behind my back nominated me for board. And they wrote me a letter saying, do you want to write a blurb for the elections? I'm like, what elections? I'm like, you've been nominated for board of APAC. I was like, oh, I should probably withdraw. Oh, I'm elected? Okay. And like that, I was on the board. And so then my conscience got the better of me, and I've been trying to help. But we've changed our mission a little bit. And I think some of the things that people don't realize, we get not taken seriously. And I'm like, that's totally okay, because we're like student council. We don't have any authority. Like, people are like, APAC, these two performers are bitching at each other. What you going to do about it? I'm like, jack shit we're going to do about it. You're grown-ups. You fix it. We're not cops.
You're not trade union.
We're not your parents. We're not a trade union. So our mission at this time is to provide performers with wisdom and knowledge and experience and the resources they need to be successful on their own terms. I shouldn't say this because I might get in trouble for it, but part of it is, and I wouldn't go so far as to call it going to war, but we're in a struggle with some of the less ethical talent agents that represent their models, because we kept asking them year after year, let us talk to your talent and help them. We'll help you by giving them knowledge and information to make sound choices, and they'll know what's expected of them, what to bring to set, how to behave. And they were like, no, you can't talk to our girls. But now we've got social media. So we're like, yes, we can. We'll just do it there.
But at the end of the day, motherfucker, they work for you, not the other way around.
That was our first message. We started a new information campaign. We're just helpful tip, like hashtag helpful tip. We're like, your agent works for you, not the other way around. You can always say no thank you to a job. He doesn't work for you. You don't have to do what he says. He has to do what you say.
Right. Scream at your agent that they're not booking you.
Yeah. And if they yell at you, leave them. Don't let anybody yell at you. You're a fucking grown up. Don't let directors, co-talent, especially producers or agents yell at you. They're not allowed to. So we've just been doing shit like that, like stuff you should know, questions you should ask before you get it to a shoot, how you can politely turn down a job and that it won't get you blacklisted. There's no fucking blacklist. Look at all the performers that get away with the horrible shit they get away with and are still working. You won't get blacklisted for saying, I didn't like working with that guy.
That you won't get blacklisted for, but generally people are nervous when they're new.
Sure. We're trying to reassure them not to be. We're trying to give them the knowledge and the resources to make the decisions that are best for their careers.
It's awesome because it's been a very common topic of conversation on the show is there is no porn 101.
Right. We're trying to provide that. And right now we've got an amazing board. It's me and it's Mickey Maud and it's Cherie DeVille and it's Anna Fox. Oh, I'm blanking. Who's our other member? Oh, and Alex Cole. Like these are all people with wisdom and varied experiences who are just trying to help. And so, yeah, we can't settle disputes between people. We don't wish to. That's not our function. But we can provide information. And that we're doing. And I'm very proud of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things I often surprise performers with is like, your agent has to carry workers' comp insurance for you.
Yeah.
They're like, what? Huh? What do you mean? Like, yeah, that's part of agency law in California.
Yeah. And you're allowed to have a no list, and you're allowed to ask your agent, who am I working with before the day of the shoot? So you could say, I'm not comfortable working with them. Or at least look them up to find out if you want to work with them. And like without passing judgment, if there are kinds of humans you don't wish to work with, even for a reason that I might not approve of, like if you have a racial preference or a sexual orientation preference or whatever else, if you do, you're allowed to. You can just say, I don't work with people like that. But it's best to do it a day before and privately.
Yeah, don't do it on Twitter.
Yeah, don't do that shit on
The mob will come for you.
They will, and they'll be right in that case. You're allowed to have your preferences. It's really rude to say so.
Right.
And one of the other things, we're like, you never have to explain a no. You can just say no.
Yeah, you're probably better off not explaining the no in a lot of cases.
I don't want that job. And just nobody is allowed to say, they're allowed to ask why. You don't have to answer.
Right. As those two weed lawyers like to say, shut the fuck up.
Anyway, thanks for letting me a little signal boost for APAC. If you're a performer and you're listening, it's APAC Social. I don't know what the Twitter is, but you can find it from my Twitter handle, I think. APAC is your friend, and we're here to help, and we're here to give you information.
So are you guys actually putting together like seminars and shit like that? Or
once it is more feasible than it currently is, we're going to start hosting industry-only parties. Maybe once a year. We did one right before lockdown. And that one was co-hosted, and we actually said performers get in free and the public gets in paid. I don't think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to have a performer-only party for us.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck setting up a porno zoo.
Mm-hmm. Let's just, the public can't get in. Nobody's going to grope you. And your coworkers don't get to grope you without permission either. That's another one of our guidelines is let's all be respectful of each other's boundaries. But I think we need more safe space events where performers can just get together and have company, whether to bitch and gripe or to brag and cheer or just network because I've always wanted to meet you. That's what I'd like to see us do.
I think that's an admirable fucking goal. Another thing that we've talked about on here recently is, and fairly regularly, is like being a porn performer can be a lonely fucking existence.
Yes, it can. A lot of people complain about that. I was like, it's hard because the romances are like high school romances.
Well, because this is high school.
It is for a lot of them. I guess that's true. But there's so much hormones and they're so rife with the potential for miscommunication and jealousy. It means a lot. I'm so lucky that I have someone to come home to that's intimately familiar with the industry, but is not a part of it at this time, and keeps me grounded and whole and knows my real name. That means a lot. And not everybody has that. A lot of people are very lonely. And if you get into the industry alone, you never know for sure if someone's interested in you or your persona. Or
what you can do for them.
Are you a notch on a bedpost? Are you a circus freak? Or are they legitimately interested in you? How are you going to know? That's rough.
Trial and fucking error.
Yeah. And performers who date each other can be cool because at least you got somebody that knows what you're going through. But also, if you break up, like you're never very far away.
You and I have both seen it multiple times. We're like, all of a sudden, people's no lists explode when they get into these relationships. Like, oh no, you can't. No. It's like, What the fuck?
Yeah. That gets rough.
Performers have they have a rough time with it because it's like
It can be very lonely.
they don't know who to trust with other performers or civilians that say, "Oh, I'm totally cool with your job," and then
aren't.
are super not.
I dated a girl. I constantly tell myself I'm not going to do this again. But every now and then somebody not in the industry expresses interest in me. Somebody referred this girl to me. He's like, "Oh, you're into this kind of stuff. I bet Tim would be a good friend for you to know." And so I'm recently dating this woman who's at least my age and married. So I'm not worried about her trying to like dig into my life or whatever. And it's a recently open marriage. I've met her husband and we're cool with each other. And he knows I exist. He's not going to like show up at my door with a shotgun. But right before quarantine for about 2 years, I was dating this girl who was initially very interested in me, but we were very different ages. And when it wasn't serious yet, she thought that me being a porn star was pretty cool. And as she started to get the feels and the feelings, she was like, "Why do you have to do that job?" And she's like, "Did the about face." I'm like, "Dude, I told, bitch, you knew I was a snake, right? You don't take the rattlesnake out of the snow and expect him not to bite you." That was an obscure, you followed it though. You saw what I just said. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And we broke up. We broke up like New Year's Eve, 2019 to 2020. We broke up. I was like, I'll miss her. But I think ultimately I was more harm to her than good for her anymore. So I just broke up.
It's amazing when you're like old enough to recognize like, oh, I'm no good for you. I need to like take
She was causing me anxiety and heartache, but more importantly, I was causing her harm and I didn't wish to, and I won't. So I'm like, yeah, you can be mad at me, but we're breaking up.
There's definitely been a couple of women in my life where like, oh, I'm going to ruin your life. I'm cool. We're going to take a step back.
This is me leaving.
Yeah, this is me leaving before I ruin your life. Because I know the signs of me ruining someone's life. I've done it. And I'm not going to repeat that.
I hope I have not, but I don't know. As if it is, it's someone I don't talk to anymore.
Oh, and there are definitely a couple exes who probably rue the day that they ever got involved with me.
I remember Jay Wiseman. Do you know who Jay Wiseman?
I don't know Jay.
He wrote SM 101 a long time ago, back like practically before the internet. And he's one of the legendary educators within the kink community. And I remember having dinner with him and he was saying, because one of his friends was going through yet another breakup. And he told his friend, look, over the course of your life, you're, I don't know how 40, however old he was at the time. Like if you've had 10 girlfriends and like 2 of them think that you're a rotten, horrible bastard, those are acceptable numbers. But if every girl you break up with thinks you're a rotten, horrible bastard, they're not wrong. So I'm just aiming for that 2 out of 10. I can live with that. If it's only that many, I hope.
Oh, shit. I got to think about this. Like, what constitutes a girlfriend? Because
I don't know.
I've been a fuckboy. I've definitely been a fuckboy in the common parlance.
I haven't really that much. I mean, I do that for a living, so there's no real need to, I guess.
Well, it's not like I've been dishonest with anybody, but I've definitely been emotionally unavailable.
I'm totally sipping into the microphone just because I want you all to savor this tequila with me. God.
Yeah, I've definitely fucked some people that like I had no interest in besides fucking, and like I didn't hide the fact, but I also didn't like advertise like, hey, I'm just here to fuck. I was just kind of like, oh, this is happening.
Sometimes miscommunications happen by neglect, a live omission.
Yeah. Oh,
you try not to do it too often. You try not to do it at all. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Well, and I wouldn't really consider it a line of omission in a lot of cases because I just didn't really give it any consideration. I'm like, I'm just in the moment. We're penetrating I'm penetrating you.
Whatever you're into we're not here to judge.
Fair enough. I got you guts. It's exit only back there.
I'm not very judgmental.
I mean, everyone would judge what comes out if like that happened. Oof. I would definitely have to buy a new mattress.
You know who your friends are when you're on camera and you're like, we need to wipe some things up. We shouldn't have done anal just then. And everybody, like, no matter how well you clean it out, sometimes there's a mishap.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been pooped on. I'm like, it's fine.
Oh, no.
I got wipes. It's cool. And we just kept shooting.
Yeah, no, I've been pooped on, too. The last time I was pooped on, I was a performer, but, like, I'm obviously not having performance sex with them.
Right.
And she was really upset. I'm like, no, it's cool. I'm just going to go shower.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
I got wipes. It's fine.
Right. Like, I'm literally just going to walk.
I'll be right back.
Right, I'll be right back. We can go again if you want.
Yeah, like, if you want a minute, that's fine.
Right. This isn't a shoot. I wasn't expecting you to eat gummy bears yesterday. Like, I came over on a booty call. You decided you wanted anal. I obliged.
Yeah. Not as much prep work as sometimes happens on camera, but we're not on camera.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Don't care.
I do remember, and the girl had asked for it. This was off camera as well. In fact, it was the girl. I don't want to be too specific on the off chance that she's stalking me. I don't want her to feel like I'm talking about her, but I'm talking about her. She wanted butt stuff, and I didn't know how much or how little experience she had. And I'm certainly not the largest cannon in the artillery department, but I'm not insignificant. And I got in there, and you kind of know when somebody tenses up, like, that's more than they thought was going to happen.
That's a grip.
We're in there tight. And then I was like, you'd better just ride this out and come quick, because I don't think you're getting a second shot of this. And she was like, it was not a non-consensual thing or anything. She was just startled and had a tightening reaction. I'm like, well, I better just finish this up. And afterwards, she's like, she was used to, I don't know how specific to get with this, but she was used to more gradual entrance. So she was trying to open up and relax, and I'm like, here we go. And just boom. And it was like balls deep, faster than she expected. Sorry.
Miscommunication happens.
Yeah. And again, it was totally fine. We had a good giggle.
Good giggle. Hopefully a good orgasm all around.
Mm-hmm. I had a good one. Think she did. I hope she did. Can't always tell, and I'm not going to ask. I'm like, did you fake that? It's like, if you have to ask.
I know, and that is such a fucked situation. It's like, well, we're supposed to be open and honest, but like, it's
not where orgasms are concerned.
Right, not 100% with not where orgasms, because like, I know so many women are like, oh, but if you have to ask, I didn't, and just look down on you like as a dude trying to have that level of communication.
Certainly, like, could I have done something better or whatever? But usually you don't ask in the moment. You ask like the next day at lunch, so they have time to calmly reflect.
You're assuming you're seeing them again.
Right. Okay. Well, if you're not, then you don't care. Right.
Well, I mean, but I may want to go again in like an hour.
Well, for an hour for now, would you like me to do something different next time? It's a legit question. And I would put it that way. I wouldn't be like, did you come or not? I'd just like, couldn't I do something even better next time? You let me know what you like.
I don't think I've ever actually asked anyone if they've came, at least not since I was a teenager.
And truth be told, this is part of my job. I have had so many fake orgasms on camera. You have no idea. No idea how much Cetaphil we waste in porn. I'm sure everybody knows this already, but that's the inside trick. If you didn't actually see the dick and you just see something land on her face and the dick's not in frame, it didn't come out of the dick. It came out of a jar of Cetaphil. It looks a lot like cum. It's just soap. I'm sorry.
Apparently in Europe, they use fucking an antacid.
Okay, sure.
Because it's out as of recording. It came out last week. ANWD was talking about what they're doing for fake pops in fucking Europe.
Sure.
Apparently in Europe, dudes use syringes to put it back inside them.
All right, well, that's a thing you could do.
Yeah, I was just like, what? Why? Why?
I can't. Okay, sure.
Yeah. And there's a clip of it on the YouTube, on my socials, of Anna talking about a dude who filled himself back up with Galveston and tequila. He decided to mix tequila into the fake pop. And then fell over from the burning.
Yeah, don't do that. That's you're gonna feel that in a hurry.
Yeah,
it's not Ben.
Like, who's like? I mean, I said this when I had her on. Like, whose idea was this? Like, I'm gonna put tequila back inside myself, mixed with anything.
Urethral-y.
Yeah,
urethral-y.
I don't know about you. Well, you're of the age where like you had to do the old school STD test where they had to Q-tip your fucking dick.
I missed that round.
Really?
Yeah. Well, the first several years of my career, I didn't actually do sex. The first 6 years I was a villain. I didn't do sex on camera.
But I'm still saying, like, you never got an STD test as a civilian back in the day?
No, I wasn't. I mean, I was slutty, but I wasn't that slutty, I guess. I don't know. I never got to this day, touch wood, I've never had an STI.
Well, good on you.
Thanks.
I mean, hell, I was having nothing but protected sex in the 90s, and I still went and got regularly tested.
I was having very little sex in the 90s.
I wasn't having a ton of it.
I was a late bloomer.
I was not having a ton of it, but I was having enough where when I had new partners, I went and got tested.
Mm-hmm.
And back in those days, the gonorrhea chlamydia test was they Q-tipped your fucking dick.
Yeah, I never had that particular.
It is fucking horrible.
I imagine that's less than pleasant.
It really made me not want to get an STD test again.
Peeing in a cup is just fine. I'll go with that. I pee in a cup a lot. I bleed in a tube and I pee in a cup.
Oh no,
I got a Q-tip up the nose these days because.
Yeah, I'm okay with all of that except the Q-tip up the nose. I hate that fucking shit.
I don't fucking care. Go right ahead. I got so few limits anymore.
But the Q-tip in the dick, like, oh, that was because not only did it
wake you up.
Oh, it was horrible. Then the next time you pissed, it still burned.
Sure.
It was just so people that are into sounding. I'm not here to kink shame you, but I do not get it.
I got buddies. I know a guy. I don't know how much of this needs to be public, but I'm aware. Not everybody. I'll have a lot of secrets that are not mine to tell, but I have a buddy who's definitely can take way past a number 2 pencil and enjoy himself. I'm like, you go right ahead, pal. I'm not here to judge. That's awesome that you can do that and have such fun.
Well, I have a conspiracy theory that I've discussed on air before that I think a lot of male talent is into sounding because either that or I have a very narrow urethra. Because you look at other look at talent's cocks like, yeah, I don't think my opening's that big. Like, are they sounding it out or just I do have a narrow urethra?
Of the many things I have not measured, the urethral opening I have also not measured. I don't know how big my dick is. I've never held a ruler up to my dick. I don't care.
Well, I'm just guesstimating. Like, it's not like I'm sitting here like on set as a PA.
Right.
Hey,
5 centimeters or
come here. How big's your dick opening?
Hang on a second. I got some calibers.
We're gonna sound you real quick just to see. Are you into this? Are you into this?
Just to see.
Just to see.
For science. For science. We're doing a survey.
Exactly. It's part of your 2257 paper. You agreed to this.
I love your show. I love your show, Matt. We talk about the dumbest shit here. Fucking love it.
This is an intellectual show, sir. What are you talking about?
It absolutely is. That's why we drink so much during it.
To make it dumber for the modern American.
Right. We're translating. These are word filters that we're drinking.
Exactly. But I'm actually still amazed that you never got like the old school fucking swab dick.
Nope, never came up. Never had to.
I never had to. I just the sex ed I got in school led me to believe that I was going to get AIDS every time I fucked. Condom or not. I was just like, you're gonna get AIDS. So I got tested fairly regularly, though I was having nothing but protected sex with other people that were probably, well, some of them were fairly promiscuous, but not that promiscuous.
Yeah.
Hell, it wasn't until my 30s till I've had one STI. I've had chlamydia. I got it from a fucking civilian. And I wasn't even upset about it, except that she took no ownership in the situation.
Right. You can be polite about it. It's like, hey, you should be aware this happened, and you're the only person that possibly could have been involved. You should go get checked.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Like, we weren't even seeing each other anymore. Yeah. I hear up like, yo, I came back dirty. You probably should go get tested.
Yeah.
And
you got the classic response of, nuh-uh.
Her response was, oh, I came back clean. You obviously got blackout drunk and fucked somebody else.
Obviously.
Though she admitted that she had done a round of antibiotics for a lung infection.
Okay.
And she's like, but those weren't antibiotics for chlamydia. I'm like, yeah, that's not how antibiotics work.
No judgment, but please just...
it's just a fucking porno cold. I'm not upset about it.
It's 2 weeks vacation for the average working person.
Yeah, it was no big deal. I had to stop drinking for 9 days.
That would have been harder for me to deal with, to be honest. I guess, if nothing else, I'm glad I've not had an STI, so I didn't have to stop drinking for 9 days in a row. I'm not sure I could... I don't drink every day. I'm not a fucking lush, but that'd be a long time to go without even a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sucked. I also had to turn down sex with someone else because, like, when I got my results, I literally was out on, like, a breakfast date with someone who wanted to hook up.
Right. You're like, well, let's take a rain check.
I'm like, because I'd just gone to the clinic, and when they saw my urine sample, they're like, we're just going to give you antibiotics now.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Because we're sure.
Yeah, they eyeballed my urine. Well, like, I was symptomatic. Thankfully, I was symptomatic. Because, fun fact, folks, 75% of women and 50% of dudes are asymptomatic with chlamydia.
That's why you get tested, because you can transfer it without knowing.
They're like, here's your antibiotics. And, like, I went out on this breakfast date, we came back to my place to just hang out, and she just, like, starts kind of rubbing me. I'm like, yo, I'm doing a round of antibiotics. I'm pretty sure
Let's just be safe.
Let's be cool here. She's like, but I'm like, and thankfully,
thank you, but I got this here dildo you could use if you want.
Right. I has hands.
I remember in my early 30s, I got a vasectomy. I was just like, the window has closed as far as my willingness to create offspring. And if I really, really changed my mind, that's reversible. I ponied up. I didn't even have health insurance. I just went in and paid for it. I'm like,
how much was it?
I don't fucking remember. Not that much. Guys don't understand what a horrible burden we are on women. Like, everybody should just get a vasectomy at 16 and have it reversed if they have a consenting partner who wants a child. Like, that should just be worldwide law. Men should not be able to procreate without intention. But that week, the doctor gives me these fucking painkillers. Like, I have these very mild painkillers. I'm like, well, could I take them with alcohol? He's like, yeah, probably. I'm like, then they're not painkillers. I'm just going straight to the rum. I'm not even taking these. They're Tic Tacs. Fuck that.
Honestly, I probably should schedule myself a vasectomy like this
Just
year.
Do it. You take 2 weeks. It's like a chlamydia. Like, take 2 weeks off. You'll have like 2 days when you're like, I need some ice and to not stand up. And by the third day, you're like, yeah, this is already pretty okay. And by the fifth day, you're like, I could cream pie all I want.
Me and Xander Corbus were talking about this on a stream recently.
I've never met Xander. I like saw him at AVN one year. I'm like, dude, you're Xander Corbus.
Oh, Xander's great.
I've always heard nice things.
We actually, on most Sundays, help raise money for a sex worker mutual aid based out of Vegas.
That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah, we Twitch stream and help raise money for Suede Vegas.
That's bitching. Well, the next time you see him, tell him I think he's all right.
I will do so.
Sorry, I interrupted your story. So you were talking with Xander.
We were talking about doing brosectomies, like making a whole day, like bro day.
Yeah.
Like making a whole bro day and then going and get vasectomies together.
Let's just go. We'll make it a
I think we should normalize that as a society. Brosectomies.
Something to be proud of. It's like, I can now, STI tests notwithstanding, you can just fucking come inside people. And so many girls that I work with are like, wait, I want a cream pie. You had a vasectomy? I want a cream pie. Like, so many girls love having people come inside them, just won't risk, even on birth control, won't risk pregnancy. I'm like, I'm safe. And they're like, yeah, I want a cream pie.
Oh, I know it. And I'm technically not.
What better advertising could there be? Like,
it's true.
You do this and girls will beg you to come inside them. Like, it writes itself.
It does. But I think we should normalize like full on brosectomies. Like, dudes get together, like make a day of it.
Yep. All 6 of us, all 12 of us are going in. Line us up in a row. We'll be sitting.
But we're going to go out, like have a nice meal, like fucking make a whole fucking day of it and then get our vasectomies.
Hell yeah.
That should be a new fucking norm. The brosectomy.
Yeah. And you get a tattoo of some kind that is a symbol that means you are now recreational only. No longer procreation.
A swimmer with a broken tail?
Swimmer with a broken tail, something like that. Like a yin yang with a little cross across it or something. I don't know. It's safe for me to come inside you.
I'm going to pop.
I don't want to be super shallow, but that is alone a good enough reason.
Not paying 18 years of child support is a good reason.
Another very good reason. Very good reason. Unwanted children are very expensive. I just heard.
Wanted children are very expensive too.
Oh my God. They're very expensive. I thought cats were expensive.
Right? Like, I don't want someone to come like try to take my stuff in 18 years.
Oh my God. And call me an asshole.
And that's going to happen either way. But
yeah,
if I fathered you or not, then some people are going to come and call me an asshole.
But people you can't just punch out.
Oh, you can definitely punch out your child. It builds character.
They'll write a book is the thing.
Cool. They're self-sufficient then. Hope it's good. I hope it sells.
I want some of that. Yeah. I'm just hoping to live a good enough life that my caretakers will put me in a good home and smuggle booze in for me.
Sadly, I don't think good homes exist.
They do. I put my father-in-law in a really good home. And we smuggled booze in for him. Kept him happy to the very end.
See, I put my father in what was supposed to be a good home, and he was dead within 5 months of being there.
No, this place was a fucking cruise ship on the land. Like, they had fucking parties and shit. Like, they were up until 6 a.m. dancing and being pre-boomer, best generation octogenarians. Talk about chlamydia, though. They were spreading it everywhere. We had to come in and teach them some stuff about safer sex practices because these fucking senior citizens were just, everybody was fucking everybody. It was hilarious.
How did the chlamydia get in there in the first place?
One drunken sailor. I don't know.
Did some fucking nurse fuck somebody?
Well, you think about that generation and how often they didn't get tested. These are pre-boomers.
You'd think, like, on intake, they would test them for everything.
They did not.
That's dumb. That's fucking dumb.
I suppose.
Well, you'd think, like, hey, we're going to put you in this fucking petri dish. Like, we should fucking test you for everything as you come in.
But even professionals whose job is caretaking for senior citizens don't believe that they're sexually active beings. And you're wrong. They are. Your grandparents are fucking right now.
Unfortunately, well, I hope not. They're dead.
Well, that'd be weird if your grandparents were fucking.
Yeah, like I think they're in separate holes. I'm pretty sure they didn't bury them together.
But everybody who's watching this show, if your grandparents are alive, they're having sex. Maybe not with each other, but they are.
And also, a lot of people that are professional caretakers in those homes don't view them as people, not let alone sexual people.
That's a whole other societal issue we have to worry about, of course.
Well, unfortunately, those people are underpaid and stressed out. So, yeah.
That is also a societal issue we have to worry about.
Oh my God, we have societal issues here in America? Never.
Let's go back to drinking, shall we?
I mean, you stopped? You got chlamydia or something? Tim's like, I don't even know what to do with that.
We'll just stop there.
Like, that was horrible, Matt. That was absolutely horrible.
I love your show. I love being here, man. We have the funnest conversations.
Oh, it's always a blast. And it's so much better in person. Oh my God.
We did one on the Zooms and it was cool. It was good to see you, man.
It was absolute.
And I didn't have to drive home, so I drank a lot more than I'm drinking right now.
That's true. I know that flask wouldn't even do a dent.
No. This flask is still mostly full.
Well, even if you kill the whole thing, you'll be fine.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, but the last time I was in your apartment and we did it.
Oh yeah, you had to hang for a little while.
I had to hang around. I'm like, I cannot see straight. I'm not getting my car right now. I hung out for like an hour afterwards.
You're not the first or last guest to have that happen. We tend to recommend Ubering here.
Yes. Difference being I'm not going to have sex with you while I'm waiting to sober up. But
I mean, that rarely happens. It does happen on occasion.
You said rarely, not never.
I'd like to think those are not drunk decisions.
Consenting adults, you know what? You could be too drunk to drive, but still be sober enough to consent. There is a golden window there.
There is a golden window.
Maybe a poor decision, but a real decision.
I mean, that's what I'm here to be, a poor decision.
I understand. I do.
I don't think anyone's ever been like, yeah, that was the right choice. That was the right.
I'm sure people have.
He's snoring. I can't sleep now.
That's when you know leave, but that doesn't mean it was a bad thing to do. Dude, girls love a dad bod. You said it yourself.
I'm well aware. I mean, that's why it's still gray.
Right? Oh, I'm so gray now. I don't know if you can see this on your show, but I am. I was tweeting when my birthday was last week. I'm like, yep, I've gone from creepy evil bastard to creepy evil old bastard, and I'm actually okay with that. That's just fine. There's still a niche for me. There's enough girls that are into silver foxes in my line of work.
When you sell your house for a couple million, then they'll really be into you.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. If I'm able to stand up by then.
You don't have to stand up. Pull a JFK. Be like, I have back issues. You got to do all the work, girl.
You got to do all the work. You came on to me.
You got to change my diaper and fuck me.
Right? As long as you're down there. Oh, man. We're going to be such horrible old men.
If I make it that far.
We're going to be like Giuliani's. It's just, oh, God. What's wrong with that guy?
Dude, now, why would you say that you're fucking brain dead?
Oh, God. I will be. I'm going to be that guy. I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid that's where I'm going to end up.
That honestly,
I hope not.
Oh, I super hope not too. Because honestly, that is the most terrifying thing to lose. Like my mental faculties. Like
that guy's gone. But he's a classic boomer. Like he's like when people say "okay, boomer," they're talking about that guy, right? It's like my dad was a classic baby, literally born during the baby boom, and they're a special breed of entitled assholes. But not all of them, obviously. Enough to make the demographic plausible.
Well, and it's wild that like a lot of them went from being fucking hippies to fucking assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads me to believe that free love was just a goddamn lie for dudes to try to get laid.
I don't know.
I mean, I obviously was not alive at that point, so
I'm Generation X. I was born in 1972, so I missed the 60s and 70s. Grew up in the 80s. And what's weird is what you didn't realize you saw happening. Like I'm older than malls. Like the shopping mall happened in the 80s. And when you're a kid, you didn't know that. You thought there were always malls. You just never saw them before. So like watching Stranger Things is the weirdest like acid trip because I wore that jacket. I wore those clothes. That was my haircut. I was 11 years old. I wasn't a kid. Let me rephrase. I was 11 years old when those kids were 11 years old in 1983. So that's an experience all of its own.
I can only imagine. What's wild to me is like 1990 something has more in common with 1970 something than we do with fucking 2000 at this point.
Right. The amount of time that's gone by is baffling.
Well, not even just the time, just this how society works in technology. Like when I was a teenager in my early 20s, we went to pool halls, we went bowling, we did so many analog real world things.
Right.
And now it's like everything's fucking digital. These fucking I'm gonna put on my old fucking man hat for a second here and like some of these fucking young kids can't communicate. Unless it's through a fucking screen, they can't communicate.
It is disturbing to me. I don't understand it, and I'm not trying to judge. I just literally don't understand the anxiety that says you can do all these things on your phone except talk on it. Like if you call a millennial or a younger than millennial, they won't pick up because they're terrified.
I'm technically a millennial.
Okay.
I'm an elder millennial,
but they're terrified. You know what I'm talking about? They're like, I can't talk to you on the phone. Fuck no, I'll text you all day. But I'm like, well, I actually find texts much more uncomfortable. Like I'd rather.
Well, and texts are
convenient,
sort of. But I can definitely convey everything I need to say to you in about a 30-second conversation versus 100 fucking texts.
A yes/no answer, I will text you. But if there's nuance, I'd rather you not misunderstand. And they're like, no, please don't call me. I can't. I get anxiety.
See, I used to love like just talking on the phone for hours with fucking girls.
That's what we did on a corded telephone with a little curly line.
Three-way calling. When they first rolled that out, oh my God.
And your parents yelling at you to get off the fucking phone.
Late middle school, early high school, like I had my own line. We had 2 lines in the fucking house.
Shit, I did not until I got my own place.
My father,
you know what I miss? You know what I miss about pre-smartphone? I miss from my youth is the arcade.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Standing in front of a wooden box with a TV screen in it and a joystick built into it and putting quarters into it to keep playing an arcade. And if you're good enough, you could make $5 last an afternoon.
I'm an old school fighting game kid, so you put a quarter down to challenge the guy.
That's what we did. Yep. I was Neo Geo. Were you what, Street Fighter? What were you?
Street Fighter 2. Fuck yeah.
I was Samurai Showdown was my game.
Street Fighter 2 and MK.
You played the machine until it was about to win, and then your best friend put in a quarter, and you played him until one of you win, and then he went on to play the machine. A quarter could last you like 2 hours that way.
Yeah.
I fucking love that shit. And now it's just apps on your phone, and that's fine. But being in the dark room with overwhelming amount of noise around you and everybody just focused on their little box game. I don't know. I miss that. That was good times.
And other activities that are similar, like fucking going to do laser tag. I mean, technically you can still do that, but it's not like I played a lot of laser tag. Paintball.
Yeah, it's a different thing. Like those arcade games were just priceless to me. That time spent. That's why like Dave and Buster's and shit is popular, because it's for my age people who miss the arcade.
And it's like, oh, there's alcohol.
And now you can drink too, and have.
Yeah, there's alcohol here, and I don't have to actually put quarters in, so I don't know how much money I'm spending with the fucking card.
That's the thing. That's the reason I won't go to Vegas either. Is like if I'm not putting coins in, I can't keep track. And now that it's all digital, I'm not playing this machine. I'll lose my mortgage. I'm not doing it. If I'm going to Vegas, it's because I'm hiring talent.
See, that's why I play craps. Like, there's chips. It's fine.
That's the way to do craps, blackjack, poker, something physical with chips.
Well, and honestly, if you're gambling, that's the way to go. Because slot machines, video poker, it's an RNG. You're playing against an RNG.
A program, and you might win occasionally, but the odds are on the house. But when you're playing poker, like you're playing against the mind of the other person. Cards are involved, but is he bluffing? Are you bluffing? That's a much different game.
APAC should get a poker night together.
APAC should get a poker night together. We should totally do that. See, we don't fundraise. And people keep asking me, like, from the beginning of APAC, why don't we fundraise? Like, one, we don't need money for anything.
Website.
Our website's covered. We have enough money for our website. We get some donations. We don't need money for anything. We don't have company cars. What do we need money for?
But do a poker night just for fucking the social aspect of it.
I mean, if we were going to raise money for a cause, like we would host a poker night to support somebody else's nonprofit. 2, we're not the kind of nonprofit that can write off your donation. There are multiple kinds of nonprofits, and we chose on purpose the kind of nonprofit that cannot write off your donation, but we can endorse political candidates. So we can literally say, vote for that guy or don't vote for that guy, which a nonprofit that accepts money can't do.
Churches do it all the time illegally. Fuck it.
Yeah, but we thought it was more important. We wanted to be able to say, if you live in this region, you should vote for this person. They respect sex workers' rights. If you live in this region, you should vote against that person or measure. It's bad for you. We thought that was more important to our mission. And we don't need money. What do we need money for? We don't do anything that costs money. And we're not here to make ourselves money. We're all volunteers. We do porn for money. And everybody's just like, why don't you raise money? It's like, we don't need money.
You should do a poker night for funsies.
That we will do. And if we did it and we will put down money, we will host it and pay for it so that performers have someplace fun to go.
Yeah. I mean, take a little rake to cover the costs.
We'll take contributions, but they're not tax deductible. So it's just people that want to contribute. And we do. Like people contribute $5 a month or $300 a year or whatever, which is nice. We do get people contributing to us, and that's great. Thank you very much. But we don't need that much, so we don't have huge fundraising drives.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. Can I come? I'm not a performer.
I would have to ask around. I mean, it's weird. The lines are a lot more blurred than they were in the VHS era. And I'm old enough that my first porn was on VHS. I kind of skipped DVDs because they were so hard to burn on a PC. And by the time DVDs were easy to do, streaming was already available. But yeah, my first porns that I was in are on VHS. But back then, you were a producer or a performer. And then I'm both. I produce my own shit. So I'm a producer, director, post-production. I'm everything and a performer.
Well, and everyone who really wants to succeed in the business these days is.
Now that there's OnlyFans, everybody is both a producer and a performer. So now the lines are harder to draw. So anybody that's performed, as far as we care, you're fine.
Hey, I'm an AVN nominee for my acting.
There you go. That's good enough. Even if you were in it in a non-sex role, I'd still vouch for you.
Well, half your board are all friends of mine, so
that's a good point too. It's like we're just we just don't want the public coming in. There needs to be some places where performers can have their guard down, and there aren't very many. So yeah, when the time comes that it's safe to do so and gather in groups of more than 3, our goal is to have some events that are just industry events. And if you're a producer who also performs, that's fine. But if you're just a producer, you're not welcome here. This is for performers. You know what I mean?
Well, I just want to hustle some talent in fucking poker.
Well, host your own poker night. I'll be there. You can take my money.
I don't know.
I suck at poker. I love it. I suck at it. You'd clean me out, dude.
I'm not as good as I think I am. There was a point in my life where I thought I could be a professional poker player. I was wrong.
What I'm really ashamed of is how bad I suck at pool. My grandfather, who's the pre-boomer greatest generation, World War II, put himself through law school sharking pool. And my only family heirloom is I have the cue that he did it with. I have my grandfather's pool cue. And that's a treasure to me because I don't have a lot of connection. There's not a lot of physical things that connect me to my family, much as I love my family. So I treasure that, but I suck at pool. I don't play that often. So I can't do trick shots and people beat me all the time. But I have so much fun playing. I should be able to play pool better than this.
It's okay. Not everything comes down, the generations.
I guess
that generation was actually fucking wild. They were just my grandfather.
People don't realize.
My grandfather, was in World War II, shot down over Russia, a POW when the Russians were our allies.
Right.
And in his later years, when he just stopped giving a fuck, was just telling wartime sex stories.
Oh my God.
He's like, yeah. So I met this girl and she's like, I can't do it unless we're going to get married. He's like, I'll marry you, but I'm shipping out tomorrow. And then all of a sudden he's like, I actually got my orders and I was shipping out tomorrow.
That's hilarious.
And he's telling the story in front of my grandmother. This was not with my grandmother.
Right.
Or the fact that at his funeral, they told stories about him hustling his guards in Russia in card games and came home with a bag full of rubles.
Yeah.
Because he was an avid card player to forever.
Yep.
And the fact that I'm a POW, but I'm going to hustle my guards to get fucking let out of POW jail to go into town.
Right.
Take their money back to America. It's
that's not Vietnam POW. That's a very different.
It's a very different POW, but it's just that's a wild fucking
story.
They're a wild fucking generation.
They did some shit. And if you think you're going to die any minute, you just do some shit. That's true. I'm thankful that we don't get that. I'm really grateful that I grew up post-Vietnam, pre-Desert Storm, in the me 80s, I'm thankful that my experience was decadent luxury and that I didn't have to know what real war is like.
Yeah, it has made us a bunch of soft motherfuckers.
Maybe. I'm certainly more sensitive than a lot of people that claim to be more manly. But I had sex with world-class porn stars, so fuck off. It's fine.
Well, and I don't give a fuck about what their opinion is, but at the end of the day, we're not a hard generation. We're really not. Like,
yeah, well, that comes from peacetime.
yeah.
And I have nothing but respect, regardless of the politics that get us ending up in places we shouldn't be. I have nothing but respect for people who are willing to be professional warriors and literally risk their lives for the country or for whatever ideal put them in the military, or because that was the only way to get in college. Whatever their excuse or reason for getting there, I have nothing but respect for people who are actually part of the military.
I respect them, but I also am sad that that is their only option in a lot of cases.
I have very little respect for the governments that send such people to their deaths needlessly over stupid pissing matches that could be resolved peacefully. But the actual men on the line with the rifle, men and women on the lines with the rifles in the helicopters or wherever else, nothing but mad respect for what they're willing to do.
But because the government uses those toys to get them to enlist, the rest of society doesn't get additional education, universal healthcare, because like those are the main recruiting tools. Like, oh, you can be in the VA forever. You can fucking GI Bill your way into college. If that shit wasn't on the table, how do you get people to go put their fucking life on the line?
It's complicated, and you're right. That is a horrible exploitation of the poor so that the rich don't have to do their own fighting.
Generals gather in their masses.
There we are back at Ozzy Osbourne.
Of course.
I think it was before we were rolling, we were saying. Were we on the air for that? We were talking about Ozzy.
We talked about Ozzy on air a little.
Okay.
He's going to play your inauguration.
Right, when I run for president.
2024. Woodman Slayer, 2024.
I'll be your vice pres, or you could be my vice pres. Either way.
I mean, you're the elder statesman.
Okay, sure. I'll do it.
There's a lot of horrible things I've said on the internet.
That
very much recorded, easily accessible. There's just a lot of your dick.
Yeah, there's a lot of my dick on the internet, but I've not grabbed people by the pussy in a non-consensual way. I've stimulated it on camera, but only with consent.
I don't know. That may hurt your fucking chances.
Right? It's like, no, he's too respectable to run for office.
Right? You're not hair sniffing.
Right? That could be a problem.
Why are both sides shitty? Why?
Every enlightened philosopher said the same thing. Like, politicians and law enforcement and teacher should be the hardest job to get and the best paying jobs to have. But the first qualification would be unwillingness to take the job. Like if somebody wants to be a cop, my first question would be, why do you want to be a cop? And the only acceptable answer is, I don't want to be a cop. I was like, okay, you're hired. Any other reason you want to be a cop, you're fired. You can't.
Serve your community is a valid reason.
To be a cop?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's better ways to serve your community.
Depends on what your previous skill set is.
I suppose. If you're like, well, I'm literally good at nothing else and I want to try and do some good, maybe. But to want to be a cop scares me. You just want to play with guns and beat up on people.
There was a point in my life where law enforcement was actually potentially a valid career choice for me. And a friend of mine was a cop and on the merit board for a suburban force in Chicago. He's like, come apply. I'll get you in. I'm like, I don't want to be a cop, man. It's like, well, you don't want to do what you're doing now. I'm like, well, that's also accurate.
Yes, but that doesn't mean
And it was just one of those things where like, I think I could do the job, but I also couldn't bring myself to like ruin someone's life because they were drunk in their parked car.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, I want to believe there are good men and women who get into law enforcement for the right reason, but it's never been my experience. I hate to sound like some kind of liberal puff cake, but like that all cops are bad thing. Just there's a lot of truth to that.
Well, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
I've seldom seen anybody's situation improve because law enforcement got involved. I'm just doing the math. I'm not even trying to be like, oh, just fuck them or fuck the man or whatever. I'm like, I shouldn't say that. I'm an over 50 straight white guy. Last thing I want is people say fuck the man. I'm kind of the man. I don't want that. But I just statistically, I've never seen a situation where law enforcement helped out any of the people who were there. I wish there was, and I'm not saying disband the police. Like there should be a bomb squad. There should be a stop the bank robbers squad. But like domestic violence could be solved better without guns and strangers coming into your house and barking at you.
Sure. And mental health issues.
That you don't want cops there. They don't make it better.
It's a double-edged sword because it's like if you have someone who's having a violent mental health.
You need people who are trained to deal with the situation, but you don't need law enforcement there. And we need to decriminalize all the stupid things that are criminalized. Sex work, all recreational drugs. There's no reason for that. There's just no reason for that to be criminalized.
I agree.
And then you don't need the cops that are the problem.
As we all know, in the war on drugs won.
Oh, yeah.
Drugs won handily.
Yeah. And if it wasn't such a one-hand, like, it's only the war on poor people with drugs. Do you know how much coke rich people did? Coke was never a poor people problem. Coke was always a rich people problem, and nobody went after them. The dealers at the top end, maybe. But the billionaires snorting the stuff, safe to this day.
Well, what's also wild is, like, I just saw an article today. 4 dealers were arrested in connection with Michael K. Williams' overdose.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Like,
I saw the headline too. It's like, do you think that's what he wanted? He was a grown up. He made some decisions. It went poorly, but...
Well, they laced the shit with fentanyl.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate, but...
He still made decisions. And if it was decriminalized, it could be regulated and like, oh, hey, you could safely do heroin. Well, safely to a degree.
And
safer.
And should those guys be arrested or should they be sued?
But also, here's the thing. Would anyone have given a fuck to go arrest them if Michael K. Williams was not Michael K. Williams?
Right. Celebrity makes a big difference too. But my point is those guys don't need to go to jail necessarily, but his family should be compensated. Like, they should sue those people that laced those drugs with fentanyl for sure. And they'd get damages if this wasn't already criminalized and so complicated.
They may still be able to.
If it was decriminalized, and it's like we can skip the whole criminal trial and just go straight to you poisoned that guy and we're going to take all your money. That's a much more dangerous
but also in that situation, it probably still should be criminalized. Like, hey, if I fucking laced your Coca-Cola with fucking foreign substance,
go after them for that. But the fact that it's heroin, who cares?
Right. Exactly. You sold me a tainted product.
I love your show. How did we get here?
I would have to go back to the tape to read.
All drug.
I would have to go back to the tape to retrace these steps. We bounced a little.
I have no idea if people listen to your show or not. I hope so, but I don't care. We're having a good conversation.
Ouch!
Do they? I don't know.
People fucking listen to this show.
Good. I'm glad to know that.
No, I've only been doing it 6 years just for me and you, Tim.
I don't know.
Tim's like, I don't even listen to this shit.
I don't watch my own porn. I don't.
Yeah, I have other guests on besides you. You could watch them.
Really? I thought only these 4 episodes ever. Really?
Yeah.
Just kidding, dude.
That's right. I just keep reskinning it. I actually am using VFX to put your face on other people.
That makes sense.
It's all the same interview over and over again. And I
just switch the order of the sentences so it looks like a new show.
That's a lot of post work on this. A lot of post work.
How'd you make my tits look so good? It's just amazing.
Fucking just
CGI, man.
Yeah, I'm a wizard. Hire me.
I'm just saying, I hope people are enjoying this, but mostly I'm just having a fun conversation.
Well, that's all at the end of the day, I care about. Like, I feel if the audience feels that we're having a good time, hopefully they're having a good time.
I just don't want to bring them down with a whole, decriminalize this and cops are bad that. I'm sorry. We'll go back to boobs and shit. Hold on. We'll be right back.
But it's fucking important. Like,
I have such an inferiority complex. I think people are only here because I tie girls up. I'm always surprised when that's not true.
Hey, at the end of the day, much like my sexual partners, I don't care why you're here. I'm just happy you're here.
Well put, sir. Well put indeed.
You don't have to think about it so hard.
I'm overanalyzing. I'm like, is this good for your ratings? Am I bringing your show down?
I know. You were like, I'm going to bring a girl. I'm like, you don't have to bring a girl.
I know. Like, literally, I don't know if you all know this, but like every time Matt has ever invited me to his show, I'm like, I got to bring somebody with tits. They don't want to talk to me. And he's like, no, I want to talk to you. I'm like, really? I'm very insecure, like all of us are.
Speak for yourself, sir.
Except you, of course.
I am way, way too secure than I should be.
I mean, at times I'm quite arrogant, but as far as like, you want to talk to me, not the girl, I'm baffled I have fans. I think they're just here for the girls. And then every now and then somebody's like, I love your work. Like, I'll tell them, follow this amazing girl. And like, well, since you said so, I'm like, wait, you were following me, but you weren't following her? And that stops me in my tracks every time.
People recognize passion.
I guess. I'm so grateful.
They recognize the honesty and the passion that, like, hey, you give a fuck about your work, your art.
I hope I'm good at it, but I do give a fuck. And that's why, like, when I'm bragging, I'm mostly like, you should check these girls out. Even if you don't buy the stuff that I did with them, you should check them out. These are amazing young ladies doing amazing, amazing work.
I think people see the sincerity. They see it. They see it and they're like, oh, shit. Tim gives a fuck about his product. Tim gives a fuck about what he's doing. He wouldn't be doing it 26 years if he didn't give a fuck about it. He's not just going through the motions to collect a paycheck.
And I still don't know who nominated me behind my back for APAC board, but I guess some people understood that too. I give a fuck and I'm not going to quit. I will help. If I can help, I'll help. So you were right. Whoever you are, you fucking bastard.
You still can't find out now that you're on the board?
Nobody will fess up to who nominated me. Somebody nominated me for board 3 years or however many years ago.
I know. You were on the board like last time you were on here. Shit.
Yeah. And we used to have a 1-year term. And then I was like, dude, that means the board gets flushed every year and we have to start over. So I convinced the board to change it to a 2-year term and stagger it so that at most 3 of us don't run for re-election at a given time. So at least 2 of us still know what was happening a month ago.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And then we did it perfectly legal. I looked it up. I dotted every I and crossed every T. Hostile takeover of our own group. I'm like, why do we have elections? Why do we have members? And everybody looked at me like, what do you mean? Why do we have members? I'm like, why do we have members? We don't charge a membership fee. And like every now and then some wingnut will appear out of nowhere thinking APAC is some kind of a power position and get all their fans to forge adult performer memberships and vote them into the board, and then it goes poorly. So like, why don't we just not have elections? And I looked it up, and it's according to the state of California, like the board can simply decide not to have members anymore after we don't have paid members anyway. So now we represent the adult performer community at large. Whether you want anything to do with this or not, we represent you without any authority, ability to do anything. And we are our own governing body, and we can kick people off the island if we need to. The board can self-select. Any majority of the board can kick a member off the board, and we appoint new members, and we don't have terms anymore. I'm stuck here until I decide to quit, which unfortunately I'm too ethically, morally bound to do, or I would have left by now. So we did a hostile takeover, and APAC doesn't have elections anymore. I don't know if anybody noticed, but we're just here until we choose to step down. And then we can self-replace. We can pick somebody who's like, look, I've been following this person. They've been in the industry this long. They're clearly passionate and educated. Let's see if we can seduce that poor bastard into joining the board before they realize that there's no glory to be had. And we'll pull them in.
What's your thought about it actually forming a trade union?
There are legal issues there because a trade association can be done. And the other group, APAG.
Yep. Yeah.
Are, I believe, technically a trade association.
Yeah.
We can't be a union because we don't have one boss.
Yeah, but you can be a guild. You can be a fucking, like SAG's not actually a union.
Right. So they perform that function. And we don't want to compete with them.
But are they?
I'm not here to judge or say how well or poorly they're doing. But if your Instagram gets shut down, go talk to them. They're really good at getting people's Instagram back. Or if your OnlyFans gets shut down, go talk to APAG. They're really good at getting those back. We cooperate, their board and ours. Like if we all need to go speak to Cal OSHA or LA City Council or county or state or whoever, we all send representatives together because we all have the same aim to not get shut down. They have their function, and I don't know. I think they're doing it well. I don't keep tabs on them. But we're not in competition with them. We are solely about giving performers the tools and education they need to be happier, healthier, safer performers. That's only recent. I did that in the last 3 years. That was me.
But as a performer or producer, why would you not be a member of that, association?
Me? Because I have a limited budget and they charge a membership fee.
Fair enough.
Literally, that's the only reason. I have a limited budget, and I don't see the benefit in myself personally joining that group, so I haven't. But I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying anybody else shouldn't. I'm just saying I haven't. It's fine with me. I'm not here to badmouth anybody. And again, I can't say whether they're doing well or poorly because it's not my job, nor do I have time to keep tabs on how well they're doing with their mission. I know we're not in competition, and we were at one time. There was some bad blood there for a little while. I hope I was instrumental in smoothing that over. And at least at this time, we are calmly, amicably cooperating from different directions towards the same aim. Free Speech Coalition, we've never really had a problem with them. They have a reputation for, when it comes down to it, siding with producers rather than performers. That's an undeserved reputation, but they have it, and I'm not really going to tilt at that windmill. They're here to help everybody, but they take a lot of money from production. Like MindGeek gives them a lot of money. A couple other people give them a lot of money. So everybody thinks they're in producers' back pockets, and I can't stop that.
Well, unfortunately, traditionally in the industry, the producers are the ones with the money.
Yeah. So go figure. They're the ones that fund Free Speech Coalition. And
because FSC is primarily comprised of a lot of lawyers.
Yeah.
And lawyers ain't cheap.
But they're great people, and I work with them a lot. In my capacity on the APAC board, I work with them a lot on a variety of Zoom meetings that I wish to God I didn't have to be involved with. But I am, because I have the stupid conscience that I keep trying to scrape it out, and it keeps growing back like a cancer.
Well, the FSC does a lot of good work. I mean, they're the ones who manage a lot of the moratoriums.
They bailed us out when AIM got killed. When AHF killed Adult Industry Medical, they won the fight but lost the battle because they didn't have enough money. And FSC stepped in and said, we're going to recreate that database. And they created the PASS system. And it's not flawless, but it's darn near flawless. And then eventually they were like, it's a conflict of interest for us to own this. So they voluntarily released it, and PASS is its own organization now because FSC realized it was the right thing to do. And that's huge, and that's awesome.
But unfortunately, TCS pulled out of PASS at one point.
I haven't had enough to drink to talk about that. And I've been drinking.
Matt, there's not much time left in this show. Why are you fucking throwing that one at me? Fuck.
We're doing our best to work together, and very often individual groups have their own, not own self-interest, but their own way of viewing the problem. And so it's good that FSC exists, and APAC exists, and APAG exists, and PASS exists, and Cutting Edge and Talent Testing are individual entities. And when we need to form a summit, we do our best to everybody get together and talk about what's most important to us. I left one name off that list. There's a union of talent agencies. And I've had enough to drink to say, fuck them. There are individual talent agents with whom I have a good rapport and have some respect for. But as an industry, fuck them. They do too much work to gatekeep and prevent their own talent from having the tools necessary to do a good job and prosper in this industry. Like that whole Derek thing when it happened, fuck that guy. I'm so happy that happened. I'm so happy that he got what he deserved and is continuing to get what he deserved. And I wish nothing but the worst for him. And he's not alone. There's an awful lot of would-be agents who are just pimps and bullies who are trying to own talent and use them up and spit them out and get new talent. And fuck them. So we're giving those talent the tools and knowledge to thrive with or without their agents, which means the agents are going to have to do their jobs, which doesn't hurt people like Mark from ATM or Spiegler or the agents who do a good job looking out for their girls. And if it kills everybody else, fuck them. I'll piss on their graves. I say that as an APAC board member. Fuck you. I'll piss on your grave. I'm here for the performers and their well-being, and you're supposed to be too. 100%. I had enough drink to say that. Shit, I wasn't going to say any of that.
Welcome to it. Now we drink.
In vino veritas.
You would not be the first or last person to say something that they may regret tomorrow on this show.
I hope I don't regret that tomorrow, but it was from the heart. I don't care. Like if you're an agent and you don't have your talent's best interest at heart first and your own business success second, fuck off, you're in the wrong business.
I've talked about that on air before. It's like there's very little motivation for agents to really look out for their art, for their talent, because the turnover for new talent is often fucking 6 months.
It wouldn't be if they took better care of them.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, statistically, the way it is now, so many people are like, this is how it's always been, so I'm going to do business in according to how it's always been, instead of wanting to make changes.
They need to make the change. And now they have no choice.
Don't disagree.
Because of OnlyFans. There's more pressure. Like talent can survive on their own. Agents have to earn their keep for the first time ever. And I'm so delighted. And it hasn't hurt Spiegler. And it hasn't hurt. I'm friends with Mark, so I'm name dropping. Like Mark from ATM, I've never heard one of his models say a bad thing about him. And I listen close. Like I stopped doing business with direct models years ago because of fucking Derek. And I'm going to say that on the air. And I don't care who hears it. He chewed me out on the phone for not backing him up when he tried to bully a model out of her paycheck. And he told me these girls are cattle and they're dispensable and it's us and the producers against them. And that very day was the last day I ever worked for that company. And I won't book their talent and I won't have anything to do with them.
I understand you not wanting to give them a paycheck, but also like there are some good talent that signed up with LA Direct that didn't know any better.
Yeah, and we're trying to help them know better. Like what I can do now is through APAC, give talent. I want to say girls because it's really all talent. I want to give them the knowledge to make wise choices about who represents them and that they can leave their everybody thinks they sign a contract that they're signed away their rights and they can't leave. You can leave. You can leave. Those talents are not in blood. Those contracts are not in blood. You can leave. And if you're doing great there, I'm not telling you to leave. But if you're not happy with your agent, fucking fire him. He works for you. That's all. Sorry. Dude, I've definitely had enough to drink. We were having such a good time just bragging about girls that I've had sex with on camera, and now we're getting heavy. But it needs to be said. It needs to be said.
And people ask me why this is a 2-hour show. This is why.
It gets good in the last 20 minutes.
You got to metabolize that alcohol. Once you metabolize the alcohol, that's when
you're a wise man.
No one's ever accused me of that before.
But this is why I'm still on the board, because I feel like I can do some good spreading information through that medium.
Tim Woodman, day one performer comes to you and goes, what do I need to know? What would you tell them?
You need to know who you are, and you need to know that somebody finds that compelling. You need to do the work you want to do with the people you want to do, with the people you want to do. You need to be open to new experiences, but you don't have to do things you're not willing to do. You need to work hard. You need to treat it like a real job. Like there is no industry on this earth that you can just sit on your back and make money. You could be born rich, but you can't just make money by not doing anything. You need to hustle. You need to show up and work. But you do not need to let people take advantage of you. You do not need to do the kind of work you don't want to do. You will find fans who love what you are, no matter how unique you think you're not. You are. That's what I tell a day one person. You're unique. Your fans will find you. Do what you love so you don't mind doing it and keep doing it as long as you like. And if that means find an agent and work for big companies, find an agent, work for big companies. But do your research and make sure that that agent treats their talent well. And if you want to work independently, you can do that. Build a roster, build a Rolodex of people that you like working for and let them recommend other people to you. There's more than one path. You find the path that works best for you. And don't let people bully you into doing things you don't want to do.
That all makes sense to me. One thing I would tell a day one person is this industry is remarkably small. Remember that.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Don't close doors. Don't be rude to people. This is not even Hollywood. This is not Hollywood. Don't be a diva. Don't be a jerk about stuff. Don't show up 3 hours late because you think that's what makes you look like you're an A-lister.
Just be respectful of people's time, period.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And God, we talked about this a little before the mic started rolling. The lack of counseling to the people that need it the most are the ones that necessarily probably won't take it. Especially young, straight male talent gets so little guidance. It's like you don't have to have an eternal hard-on and jackhammer it as hard as you can into whatever's there, regardless if it's ready. That's not what makes you a good performer. Come to us. Let us help you. Let us teach you. We want you here. I'm too old to keep doing this shit. Sooner or later, somebody else is going to have to do it. I'd love to have like a sidekick that would turn into the next pro villain and I could turn over my like Batman cape or whatever to his ass. I'd love to be passing on this wisdom to somebody that I knew I could be proud of. But our culture doesn't allow men to take advice from people. It's really hard for young men in this industry to learn the good habits and the good practices that will make you a respected, beloved performer. It's not just your dick size. It's almost none of it's your dick size. That's what I'd tell a beginning performer with a dick, is that your dick is the last thing you have to worry about.
So you do have to worry about getting it off.
It's on the list, but it's the last thing on the list. Treating your coworkers with respect, listening, being an active and open listener, being open to new experiences, but not feeling obligated to do things you don't want to. All of the advice that I just gave, plus you're responsible. You have the tool that hits the other thing. Use it carefully.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of fucking sense.
Learn from people that are willing to teach you. Be humble. Be a team player. Like there's days when my equipment doesn't work perfectly. My coworkers are cool with that. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. I don't take Viagra. I don't take anything. I drink tequila. That's my vice. I don't smoke anything. I drink tequila and sometimes rum. And on rare occasion whiskey, but I'm not really a connoisseur, so I don't know good from bad.
I can help you with that.
Yeah, I'll look to you next time I'm wandering my local liquor store. you don't need that necessarily. It's not the eternal hard-on that gets you the job. It's how well do you treat your coworkers. Like every single set I'm ever on, I have one goal, one guiding principle that gets me through that day is make sure at the end of that day, the person I'm working with would be willing to work with me again. Not the director, not the producer, because they're probably never going to hire me again anyway. And most often I'm the director and producer. I want to make sure that the person, in my case, the young lady, because I work with women, but whoever you're working with, make sure that at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, I'd work with that guy again. Get on their yes list. Not because your dick is big, but because you treated them well and listened. I was just going to brag about women I've tied up lately, but we got all smart.
Yeah, we got serious.
We got wise and shit. Oh, well. It's
stuff.
Tim. It's important stuff. I hope some people listen.
Why do you keep saying that?
Because I don't think of myself as a draw. I think they're going to skip this episode to your next attractive
I'm just going to put tits on you in the fucking thumbnail.
Please do. Please do. I think I'd look better.
I'm going to ask Cherie DeVille for a picture. Like, put your head on Cherie's body.
I love her so much. I'm going to try and work with her again. I just got to. She's, we talked about this before the camera was rolling. She's doing so well on her OnlyFans that she doesn't take paid gigs anymore. Like, I have work for her. She's like, I will work with you in trade if I can keep the content for my OnlyFans. But my day rate is no longer worth my day. I just as soon stay home and do my OnlyFans. So you have to offer me something better than that. I'm like, that kind of sucks for me on a personal level, but it's so awesome for her. I can only but cheer for how well she's doing. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, she's killing it. She's absolutely killing it.
And she'll still work with me. I'm like, all right, let's do trade content. We shot a thing. We shot this cool thing. It's up on both of our sites right now. We found this coffee shop, not a real coffee shop, but a location looks like a coffee shop. It's on her site. It's on my site. Go follow Cherie DeVille, or it's on my most recent 8 updates, I think. Cherie DeVille coffee shop, something or other. You can't miss it. She's so amazing. She's such an actress and such a force of nature and so fine. Like that beautiful face, those compelling eyes, those amazing tits, and that curvy ass. I'm like, just on a shallow level, Cherie. Never mind how wonderful she is and how awesome she is as a person, but just on a shallow level, she just knocks my shit out of the park.
She is good people.
Isn't she? She's amazing. I love her. I'm so proud. I nominated her to join the board, and then I begged her, please, Cheryl, come join me on this board. And she did. And so I'm so grateful she's on APAC. And Anna Fox is on APAC. It was just down. She and I were the last 2 that actually got elected. And we kicked the rest of the board off. I'm like, Anna, we got to fix this. And me and her recreated. We begged Mickey Bob to come back. And we sweet talked Alex Cole into joining us. And now it's us and Cherie. And we're getting shit done. And I'm really, really proud to be part of it.
Hell yeah. Now, Mickey's good people. I don't know Alex, but I know some people who know her.
I've met her a couple of times. I'm wistful. Like, I have a huge crush on her, but she doesn't have a use for me as far as the content that we each produce. And she too is like, I'm making enough money. You can't hire me. It's a waste of my day. I'm like, I totally respect that, but she's so gorgeous and she's so cool. And I would work with her in a heartbeat, but she has no reason to work with me. And I respect that. I'm never going to push her. I asked her like 3 times. And she politely said, no, thank you. And I'm not going to bring it up again. But if you don't know who Alex Cole is, first of all, you live under a rock. And second of all, go find her. She's the most gorgeous young lady and a hell of a performer and a real sweetheart. And she cares so deeply about the rest. That's why we begged her, come join us. You care so much. She's awesome. She's handling our Twitter now, like the APAC Twitter. I was doing it. And we're like, can we get Alex to do it? And she's killing it. She's doing a great job.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That's fucking awesome.
She's really cool. Huge crush, but she's just totally cruel.
Well, hopefully she just, one day is like, I got to use for Tim.
I don't care. I would love that, but I don't care. I just think I'm honored that she's part of our board, and that's far more important. I'm not done drinking. How are we on time?
Wow, Tim. Ouch.
Do I have time? I'm not done drinking. This is what I'm saying.
No, we can keep drinking, but it's actually last call on this motherfucker.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, is there anything else we haven't covered that we ought to?
Not that I can think of. You got anything on your agenda that you gotta?
I'm just glad to be here at all, my friend.
Hell yeah!
I don't understand why you let me on your show,
because it's fucking fun
to be here.
Because it's fun.
There, look, the flask is empty.
Hell yeah!
Poured it out.
Tim, but before we get out of here, where can they find you, APAC, and all that shit on the things?
Okay, so I'm just the one name everywhere. Tim Woodman's not my real name. That's my stage name. But when Twitter came along, I came up with a handle. And that's also my website. So I am provillain.com. Make sure you spell it right. It's not provillian. AIN, provillain.com. or twitter.com/provillain. APAC, and I don't want to fuck this up, so I'm going to go look it up to make sure. I think it's APAC Social or APAC USA, something. APAC can be found on Twitter at APAC Social, at APAC Social. And if you go back more than 2 years, those are all my tweets. But currently it's Alex Colon. She's killing it. I don't remember what the website is, but I'm sure it's on there.
Just Google APAC.
Just Google it. You're not stupid. You're listening to this show. You obviously have some brains in your head. You can find it. I have faith in you, dear listener.
Fuck yeah, Tim. Always a pleasure.
It's such a good time with you, my friend. One more.
Cheers.
Cheers, Matt. Thanks for having me.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you all for watching and listening.
And in case, for whatever reason you don't know, as always, you can find me at Matt_Slayer on Twitter, Matt Slayer on Instagram, Matt F. Slayer on Facebook, twitch.tv/Matt F. Slayer, the Patreon at patreon.com/Matt Slayer. You can find the podcast at And Now We Drink on Twitter, and Now We Drink on Discord on Instagram. And until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.
Cheers.